Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PS Tournament Open Series Monthly Finals. It's 2v2 Call of Duty Search and Destroy. Once again, and my name is Chris Tunn, joined by Visions for this one. Visions, my man, how's it going to first foray here with Sony into the 2v2? Excited to have you.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to jump into this. I'm a big 2v2 nerd. I love watching it. I mean, we've been obviously casting a lot of Cold War this season, so I'm excited to see how things play out for us in Europe and North America today.
Yeah, it's a very different story over here in the 2v2 world to what we're used to seeing, but it's always a blast, and we're excited to get into things in Europe firstly, and then we'll be jumping over towards North America later on this evening. But let's remind ourselves in Europe of who our previous champions are. It's usually the same suspects, and we expect to see them once again. And let's have a delve into that list in just a second. But when it does come down to 2v2, Visions, we can have this conversation all night long. It is very different to the standard, what we usually see. What's your take on it? Because I know it's very simple at its core in a way, and that's why people get into it in that respect. But for you, what's the core elements of 2v2 S&D?
Yeah, the big factor is that there's a lot more of the map open. So I think that there's a different play style in the way that you're trying to attack bomb sites. You might be looking to play a little bit more patient, trying to set up here, around some of these power positions. And it leaves you open to maybe a little bit more risk. You have to kind of dive into these situations where, it's not going to be the same 4v4. Not every single lane's being covered. So it opens up for, I think, a lot more creative plays that happen in these 2v2s. And I mean, that's what we always love. It makes it more fun.
Yeah, we do indeed. But now let's have a look at the previous champions in Europe. Of course, there are some of them involved this month as well, so we will be keeping an eye on them. But Allcon absolutely have to be the favourites. 2 months for them, winning emphatically last month as well. Visions, a very convincing victory from them. Interested to see if they can go on and do the same again.
That's going to be the big key here. I mean, it's just been all Allcon as of late, and these guys are the team to beat at the moment. So if they can keep this going and, kind of just keep pulling these series ahead and jump into another grand finals, they might have another good shot at it. But I feel like if you're one of these squads right now in the semifinals and things like this, you want to knock this squad out if you can do it. That is going to be a massive confidence booster going into that grand final.
Well, let's have a look at the schedule and where we may well be seeing Allcon, of course, as well, because we are going to be jumping into them very firstly, as far as I'm aware, at least anyway. We've got a few games to get through today, so let's have a look at the schedule to see how things are going to, break down across the PS tournaments more than anything. Of course, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War today. Tekken 7 and Guilty Gear is also on the card, so if you do want to get yourself involved, it is compete.playstation.com. If you want to sign yourself up, it's completely free. There are prizes every single month. You much of a Tekken 7 guy? I can't see it. I can't see Visions.
No, I'm not. I'm guilty. I'm not at all, unfortunately.
Oh, man, I think it was one of the very first games I played on PlayStation.
Really?
I got a hold of it. Like, we're talking way back. I'm going to say it was even Tekken, maybe even 3. Like, I'm showing my age here at this point, but I ain't trying to enter any of these, by the way. I am not very good at Call of Duty, never mind games I haven't played in since I was about 6. But nonetheless, there's very much something for everybody when it does come to these PlayStation tournaments. Every single month, I said, you can get involved at compete.playstation.com. But let's concentrate on the here and now, and let's talk about these teams that we do have here over in Europe this evening. Let's have a look at the bracket in just a second to see how things are going to break down. Well, England with an exclamation mark up at the top there. I mean, maybe we needed that a month ago when things were going well for England in the Euros, but nonetheless, they are going to be an interesting one to watch. But the game we're going to be kicking things off with, Visions, is going to be Allcon against INX. And I think, it's coming in as a defending champion for Allcon. It's important to maybe just keep the ball rolling. You've already made your way through a 64-team bracket to get to this stage. It's important for them to have a good game here in the quarterfinals.
It certainly is. I mean, with everything that they've been putting forth and just like looking over some of their gameplay from the past, like this is one of those squads that comes into this and you have to play them heads up here. It's not easy to go into some of these games when this is the defending champs. They've won another tournament on top of it here. So if they're able to come away with the first map, I think there's a solid chance to keep this going. But for the other squad here, I think INX need to come away with that first one and really slow them down a little bit going into a map too. And that might be their chance at being able to steal away a series.
Yeah, let's see if they can upset the odds. But what are these guys playing for? Well, a little bit of cash and a lot of else that is going on here, though. The PSN card is what a lot of these guys will be looking at as well. And I know it's going on COD points. I know it is. You can't tell me otherwise. It's going on that store. All these guys are looking for those outfits to run around, of course, in Cold War, to, of course, run around in Warzone as well. I like going for the ugliest outfits possible. That's usually my play.
That's your play.
People hate it. Yeah.
On the
like to
Warzone
stand
map,
out.
there's some that definitely do stand out. They must make it a little bit easier to take some shots from range. I mean, I'm usually going a little bit more decked out, trying to camouflage in.
There's
So
one that you look like a lion, and that was kind of the
that
last
one
one
actually
that
pops.
I went for. Yeah, exactly. Look, I got some stick for using it, right?
All right.
And I was like, no. I am the king of the jungle, and I'm going to run around Warzone and drop my 1 KD at best. But nonetheless, of course, if you do want to get involved and do want to get yourself a hold of those gift cards and, of course, the cash prizes, then do get involved at compete.playstation.com. It is free to enter. Tournaments every single month, as we have specified, not just Call of Duty. If you're sitting here watching this thinking, yeah, I'm all right at COD, but I'm great at Tekken 7, get yourself involved and get online at compete.playstation.com. But as said, it is 2v2 search and destroy this evening, and we are nearly ready to jump into the first game. So let's start talking about it a little bit here. It is going to be the round of 8, and let's just gloss over the maps a little bit here as well and try and go from a 2v2 theory of how we're going to work things out. So we kick things off with the best map on the game and of all time in Raid, then Checkmate and Express coming in after it. That's not even a bold call. You can't argue with it. But to be fair, Raid, Checkmate, and then Express would be coming in map number 3 if we do need it. But it's a good way to kick things off. Raid and Checkmate, very nice.
Yeah, Raid's like classic. Like I honestly remember playing like 2v2s way back in like Black Ops 2, and everything about Raid I think just fits so well for 2v2s because of the way that the map works. It's very similar, I guess, in the way that you would almost look at Moscow, right? Where it's like you can attack both different bomb sites on opposite sides of the map, but a lot of what happens, goes through the middle of the map here for you. So I'm curious to see how much of that pressure kind of plays out for us, around P5, right in the middle of the map, and whether or not a team's going to be able to take charge of it and then be able to dictate a lot of the pacing because rotations become a little easier through open stairs or through dividers, whatever it is here. So I think that's kind of one of the big keys when we're talking about trying to lock things down and trying to gain a lot of map control. That's what we'll probably be looking at, I think, for the majority part on this first map.
Yeah, and Checkmate, of course, not necessarily obviously involved in the CDL anymore, but for 2v2, it becomes a little bit more open because I think the issue with it was, and we've discussed this before on the show, but we'll go through it again. When Checkmate in the CDL, if any of you guys at home are sitting watching and you are a fan of that map in particular, or a fan of the CDL, of course, then you are sitting there watching that and you're saying to yourself, right, okay, yes, it is slow paced, but there's only so many lanes 2 people can watch, right, Vision? So it can possibly be broken up a little bit, and we may even see forays onto different bomb sites is what we're used to, at least anyway.
Yeah, like that's where that risk comes in, right? Where it's like, listen, you're playing Checkmate, like you might have to keep someone dedicated inside of the plane because losing that control can be so devastating, and then your AR might be behind you watching one of the lanes, and as you said, it's like some people can slip through, and you have to be able to kind of play this chance, bouncing off of different areas at the same time and playing for information. That's the big thing, and we'll probably get throughout a lot of it today, but using your stuns, using your nades correctly in order to fish for information, to figure out where your opponents are. Like these are all these little things that end up playing a really important factor in search and destroy. And a team that has won it now twice here, very likely to come in here like Alcon and have a shot at being able to take the entire thing by doing some of those. So yeah, it should be interesting, and we'll see if Checkmate and Raid end up playing out in their favor here, and that's one of their stronger maps that they can come in with, kind of kick off hot.
Yeah, I believe Raid is a really good one for Alcon, but let's talk about Alcon a little bit more and the team they're going to be going up against as well. Let's delve into the stats. Well, I mean, this is England from the other side of the bracket, at least anyway. 9 wins, 2 losses across the whole qualifying scenario. So an 82% win rate, not too bad. So there's somebody to keep an eye out on across the whole tournament, of course. I'd be interested to have a look through the team that we're obviously going to be going up into, but I think we got it this time. There we go. They definitely got more wins than 9, I would say. But Clara and your Brett, it seems as if somebody different on the team this time. I know Clara was in there with somebody different, but nonetheless, that's not necessarily as clean cut as Alcon have been in the past, I would say, if those wins and losses are correct here, Visions.
Yeah, and I think that's really the big factor when you play this tournament for X amount of times. Like teams are going to start to maybe figure out a little bit, and that ends up playing out for us. But we take a look at what INEX have been able to do, and overall, 25-10, 71% win rate. So this is one of those teams that I think that you look at and say, all right, they have the potential to take down a team like Alcon here in this round, but it really does end up falling on execution and whether or not they can ice up in some of these situations where it feels like Alcon are just so experienced in.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Volcon do here, because previously in other qualifications that they went through, it was easy breezy. They were literally coming through, and they hadn't lost a game as far as I was aware, and they
Right.
were looking good. But if that is the track record, then maybe some questions are to be asked here this evening, and we may well have a very good
Right.
game on our hands. But Raid's going to be coming up first. Very excited to jump into this one with yourself, Visions, of course, and for any of you guys in the stream, do drop a follow. We're here every single month with Call of Duty, and as mentioned, with other games as well. They're all coming up over the next few weeks. Very excited to get into this one, though. It's my third time here, and it's nice to have you along for your first. And it is always a blast, and let's have some fun with it. 2v2 Search and Destroy is always a laugh, and we are delving in right now. Inex taking on Olcon. It's going to be Clara, of course, on Olcon, but with a different teammate this time around, so maybe things will be affected that way. But nonetheless, into it we go. It looks like an A hit out of Inex.
Yeah, and that middle map control that I kind of already mentioned just gets hit out right away, and this might actually result in a potential pinch. It might just be a first blood. We'll see if they can react to it, but the timing might be against them, and yeah, there's the information. So first kill should be good. Are we going to get a trade? Feels like it's going to be perfect teamwork coming in, and yeah, right away, Alcon, they're not messing around. They run right through mid. They get that map control. They lock down the first round.
Yeah, easy enough for them. And first bloods, I mean, how important are they, especially when it comes down to 2v2? It's massive. And Clara, one of those players who just consistently does it every single month. They find their first bloods so often, and it makes things so difficult for the opposition. So, the turn of Olcon now to get the attacking round in. See which way they go with things. There's a little bit of a split on the defensive side of things, but information being played for here. You would have got some information there, and the A-bomb site is what they're going for once again.
Oh, there's the first blood as well. We already talked about how crucial that is, and that's just going to open up the site. We'll see if first might be able to find an angle to move on. He's got an AK-74U, and it looks like an AR in his back pocket, so he's going to be pretty lethal from just about any range, depending he has the right weapon. That part, shot position's going to be known, and now things got a whole lot more difficult.
Yeah, you find that first kill, it becomes doable, but now you've got two eyes, or sets of eyes, I should say, on you. And Olcon will find the second round, and once again, I don't want to say dominance on Raid, but how comfortable they look on this map is really shining through once again.
It really is, and it's the way that they're setting up a lot of these plays together. I mean, they're finding these first bloods, but the problem is there's no trade that's coming in here for Inex because they're splitting up a little bit, trying to take away multiple parts of the map at the same time, and ultimately that's been really well taken care of here for Olcon as they've been able to pull away with the first 2 rounds. And this is where you want to slow things down a little bit, maybe see if you can get at least that first blood here for yourself if you're Inex, because this is one of those rounds where you do not want to go down 0-3.
Yeah, it's a big difference between 2-1 and 3-0, isn't it? It's when you get to these rounds, it's where you start and need to win. 2-0 now, and you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. Bring it back to 2-1, you've halved that deficit. You're well and truly back into the game, but a 3-round deficit, it feels like a bit of a different story, doesn't it? But here we go, Olcon with the immediate wrap round. Disp not going to quite get caught. Just about survives, and, well, first does not survive the Craig of Clara. On the side top arc, just so difficult to deal with, and look at these shots coming through. I mean, what are you supposed to do with this?
You gotta hope that one challenges and you can bring home the gunfight. That's not gonna happen. That was just another beautiful collapse. Like, I think you're starting to see, why this Olcon roster, has in fact won a couple of tournaments in a row, and why they're just able to just collapse on here. Like, shooting, shots are in. I mean, a beautiful synchronized collapse to make sure that they do come out with another round here, and it's off the back end of the play there. This just goes up the middle of the map here again, right? It's not really being contested for Inex, and now you're back on the defense. I just would really like to see them just double up, try and hit one site, try and double hit mid, just do something together so you can at least maybe play for a trade.
See if they can get something going. I have a feeling we may well be heading into these semi-finals rather quickly, and whether or not the Pellington is it, I'm not sure.
It almost feels weird seeing snipers again, but in 2v2s, you'll love to see it here in the Sony Open Series. And if you get a couple of nice shots, man, a sniper rifle, it can do some damage. And the position's not terrible, but Remsco, he's not reading the rotation, or maybe it actually plays right into his factory. Look at this, look, right through the middle of the map. They're actually going to come and bring it over to B, and the timing on this couldn't have been better, but they're going to switch right back. Maybe getting some kind of a scare on the B site. Don't want to risk it, so they move back to A, and they're going to drop the bomb.
Easy enough to play around with. A little bit of control. That bomb is down, and well, he's very dead. Olcon very much walking away with this one in the fashion that we presumed we'd see.
For sure.
Yeah. Expect a bit more of this when Olcon are involved this evening.
I mean, it does feel like it's one of those maps that is just, really in their comfort zone and is in their wheelhouse with the way that they play. I mean, I think the last 2 defensive rounds, Disp has just been running up the middle of the map, and he's got through to Art. His teammate got there with him. And stopping that is going to be really difficult. Hitting a different bomb site, like something new, I think is obviously going to have to come in here for the side of INEX, and at least getting yourself around to slowly build off of it would be a start. But with the way that Alcon's playing, I mean, they're not slowing down. They're not giving over any breathing room.
Absolutely not. Nothing so far. Looks like a B hit's going to come through, and well, it looks like Olcon have read it. On the stairs, the stuns come through, and that's the information for Disp to find the first blood once again. Remsco up top. Oh, you got to find that. And maybe in the 1v1, you got yourself a good chance, but Remsco whiffs the shots just that little bit, and all of a sudden, it seemed like Olcon will very much punish you for it, and it's a 1v2 potentially on the cards here, but as to be said, he has managed to get himself the hell out of dodge, at least anyway. And now A is becoming viable. Smoke down. I like to see it. Was he baiting them?
Yeah, he
said 2v2s. Yeah, it's here for the plays like this, and I like this out of Remsco.
Is he going to see this player? Disp. Oh, he's going to see him, but Remsco, he's able to play his life for a second. He's still got 35 seconds on the clock. 2 different weapons to work with. He's already made a full lap around the map, and I don't think he's got time to do another one. So you're going to have to challenge one of these gunfights, and that first one's going to be a mid-map right here. We'll see if he can bring it home. Quick switch to the AR. Not going to happen. Olcon, they are just cleaning up house right now. It's 5 straight rounds.
Yeah. Pretty much a walk in the park for Olcon at this moment in time. Final kill comes through here from Disp. I think he just hit him. Remsco always going to struggle to win that gunfight. We'll point one thing out. Remsco, sensitivity, very high. It's very, very high.
It is. And far range, I mean, it's tough to land those shots. Like close range, it can give you those slight advantages. But yeah, that is absolutely something that's coming through. And on top of it, even if you don't grab this round, I mean, look how close the streets they are. They're 5-0, but that's the first kill that ends up coming through. There's of course a trade, and now it's a 1v1. Remsco, let's see if he can bring it home.
0-5.
All right.
Oh, well, 1-5, and there you go. INEX get themselves around. That was much more like it. Win that opening trade, it makes things so much more easy. It's always difficult when, I mean, when you're kind of down 5-0, finding the round is I would say. But look how cracked he is, my God.
Oh, he's ready to go for the second. He's like, "Where's the second one, man? Give it to me." Looking good, but hey, they get themselves there. I mean, it is a very long road to work back into this map 1, but it starts with that first round, and it came off the back end of a first blood too. And I'm really wondering if they're catching on to it, because it just seems like every single play call, just about at least for the side of Olcon, it has been doubling up. This time, it's going to be just a little bit different here for them. They're going to split across the map, so there's a chance for 1v1 to be played, but Disp, he's just waiting for some sound cues, waiting to pop out here, and he very well might just get one.
Artillery coming in from Clara. Force them now inside of Laundry, and that is just an easy cleanup for Disp, although he is going to take a lot of damage. And OG first will find the shots through. He's going to be able to find the second. No, he is not. And Olcon will take map number 1 in, well, very, very comfortable fashion. 6-1 on raid.
Yeah, not playing around.
It's kind of what we expected, it has to be said. Olcon coming in here, wanting to defend their title once again. And make light work of INEX in map number 1.
Very clean. I mean, all around the board. Like, that was a raid that they just played, and it felt like it was just about flawless the whole way through. Almost every round, they're entering with those first bloods there for themselves. They're always doubling up, creating these advantages, and then working the map together. So they're no joke. They're no joke. Chris, this is my first time watching over them, and I'm a believer. I can see it. They're one of those teams that is coming out here and doing a lot of damage. And now INEX, I mean, they need a big bounce back heading in towards the checkmate for the map number 2.
Yeah, they won't be short of skins on the game, put it that way. At this point, they are really very much going to town when it does come down to these 2v2 EU monthly finals. But, if you guys at home are sitting there thinking, they ain't got nothing on me and my mates, right? 2v2 S&D. We've been dominating right now. Get yourself involved at compete.playstation.com. If you do believe you can come up against Olcon, because right now in Europe, they're the ones to beat, and it is proving difficult at this moment in time. Inex, anything in particular you looked out for them that could have worked out better apart from kind of everything? I mean, it was, I don't know if there was anything specific that you managed to kind of figure out there.
Well, I liked the scope coming into play there for us, right? At one round we saw it. It's just the way that they use the scope. I would much rather see like, you know, a mid challenge with the sniper rifle while you have your teammate running there so that you can play for a trade, right? I think a lot of twos has to do with, you know, playing with one another. Then really good teams are able to showcase that. So I think if they can bring the scope out and actually use it, you know, off of one another, play off one another a little bit more going to the maps, there's a shot to be able to take away a checkmate, because a checkmate does come down to some timings for us, Chris, right? There's a lot of little angles, little corners that you can hide in. You can play sneaky. You don't necessarily have to take challenges, and you know that might favor them a little bit more.
Yeah, I suppose on raid you kind of need to stop the flooding of the bomb sites, specifically over towards A. You have to challenge those gunfights. When I suppose it comes down to checkmate, though, you're very right. It's not necessary to have to come through and get something done in terms of winning those opening gunfights. You can sit yourself tight and maybe just hold on and see what you can get a hold of. And it might have to be the tactic for Inex at this point, because Altcon looking very comfortable in map number 1, looking to defend their title once again. And yeah, I wish I could see a route in for Inex here. I hate to spoil the party for any Inex fans in the chat to sort of say, yeah, okay, my boys have got this back. But Altcon just look like the team we know they are. They look dominant once again. Raid is going to be, well, it's not going to be a difficulty anymore because I don't believe we play it anymore, unfortunately. It's kind of like a rolling map pool as we go through things. And actually, we can just touch on that once again. So we've got Checkmate coming up and Express if we do need it. Moving into the next round, though, we're going to kick things off with Checkmate, then Express, and then you get to be sort of spoiled a little bit here, Visions, for your first 2v2 Miami S&D.
Miami, we're going all the way there if we get there.
Now, if we get there, and we will definitely see it in the grand finals, because I believe that'll make it have to come into the... Yeah, we will. So it'll be Express Miami, Moscow for the grand finals. So we are going to see Miami once again. And it's a peculiar one when it does come down towards 2v2. And maybe
it is.
We need all time at some point. We can talk about it a little bit. But Checkmate coming up, as said, it's maybe not one of those where those first bloods, yes, okay, they are important, but they're not necessarily something you have to commit to just as much. So maybe an in route here for Inex.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the chance to see if they can bring it back. Let's see if they can, in fact, get it done for us. Even a little change up in the weaponry coming through. I remember, you know, Disp was, of course, running that AK-74U for us. He wants to try that XM4 that certainly shreds. So a little bit of a change up coming through, at least off the bat, or as far as the weapon meta. And it will be defense first for the side of our Altcon roster. They just came out with a 6-1 win. We'll see if they can get it done in 2.
That's the feeling I'm getting. If I'm brutally honest with you, Visions,
I like the honesty.
Yeah, I'm just true to myself. At the end of the day, Disp is going to come into a gunfight here. OG first snaps, but Disp snaps that a little bit quicker. Remsco does like the smokes.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them work very well yet, though. And all gone 1-0 up. That's what they want. Inex kind of running into them there, Visions.
Hey, I mean, that was just another really well defensive round. Like, you can see the first gunfight here. If First wins this, then there was a real chance to get this for Inex. It's just the problem is they're taking split challenges and they're just not winning the 1v1s. And if you're not winning the 1v1s, then you're, of course, putting your partner in really difficult situations to clutch up in. So the first one, of course, goes the way of Altcon. They're picking up where they left off, but now we'll see them on their very first attack.
Let's see what they can do here. It's straight down the middle of the play, and then OG first hasn't committed to it, although has he? And that's just tough timing, unfortunately. But very much for Altcon side of things, they've played together. The trade would have always come through, even if the shots did not. Now Inex and Remsco, 1v2 for him.
I'm just getting flashbacks to when I was playing 2v2s on Checkmate at the beginning of the game, and it can be tough, like breaking down a setup like this, like Remsco, right? He needs to take a one-on-one challenge. If he wins that, then there's a shot to be able to play the clock and, you know, try and move into the site with this with the weaponry, but it's just not going to pan out there for him. And this is just, you know, flawless S&D being played. It's just 1v1 being won here right now, and on top of that, they're just always isolating the last member, it feels like, and making it very difficult to win any easy gunfights.
Clara sitting at 3-0. Having a good time of things. Going to switch it up with the Craig here. I'd imagine he's probably just going to sit back B. Once again, just splitting themselves up on the defensive side of things. Or are they going to? No, they are not. And this is a big play and hit coming in on the defensive side of things. OG first is really going to be running into the lines then here. No shots landing, unfortunately. That grenade is just going to force him away. And then Clara's ready and waiting in the wings, quite literally, to take that one away. Remsco 1v2.
Oh, a couple of clean shots there. Just can't find the elimination. But over to the 74U. I like this route. This route could catch them off guard, but he's got to be ready for the second challenge immediately if he finds this first kill. And he should go chasing. There's the gunfight, and oh my, even with the information, just the turn is there. Likely going to be a trade right after, but just not giving up like anything on the map right now. This Olcon roster, we'll see it again here, Ton, but like, what's the got a sound cue or something, because he just turns and snaps and makes it look so easy.
That's just Olcon at this point, and that's just the boys. Just getting it done as per usual. Look, they're probably going to cruise through. That's kind of what we expected. Oh, the skin. Look! Oh, man, that was Inex. I was about to say, look, Olcon flexing it once again.
Yeah, that thing is a tank. That skin, man, it's got some flash to it. It's got some flash to it for sure, and now it's going to be the information, of course. First, pretty aggressive, and look at Disp. I mean, how many times has he found an open lane to come through and then collects the first blood? This puts Remsco in another 1v2 here. If he finds this first one, there's an opportunity, but Disp, I mean, he's working in the back.
Oh, Disp not quite finding those shots, but the information is there. Remsco now, what's the plan? I mean, he's not in the best of spots for this one, unfortunately. Just maybe expected the push through, but now he gets himself over towards B. That bomb is down, and he's just going to be challenged, doesn't he? From this, though. Backing on down. Clara is there, though. Nicely done. Olcon cruising 4-0.
Sure are. I mean, every round, it's find a first blood and then try and drop the bomb. And it just works out every single offense. Like, first is trying to make an aggressive play, but it's just a little bit too late. If he does that at the start of the round, then maybe he gets under the plane concealed. But, you know, Disp is just working the map. He's finding these open lanes. He's working the angles. 4 straight rounds now in the checkmate. I mean, this is a very similar story to what we saw in the raid, where they went up 5-0. And you have to worry about streaks now coming into play as well, because the artillery is available, and he's probably just about to kill off the cruise missile on top of it.
See if Inex can get their customary round yet. Stuns out. Information there for Disp. There's a grenade as well. Going to force them away just that little bit. Doesn't even need to really reposition, although the opportunity is there if he wants to. No idea. And first has run into the middle of nowhere, and he will get cut down. Where's his teammate? All the way at the back.
Oh, they're close shots. Really close shots. And Remsco, you can see it, really trying to dig into that pocket, pull out a weapon that might catch them off guard. He had a chance at being able to even up the odds. We'll have another one here. And that's going to be a massive tag up. Remsco going to have to try and position well, and it's not going to happen. Just absolute laser beam comes through. Olcon 5-0, just one away from advancing here, Todd.
Yeah, that's the beams coming out once again. Clara, nice, perfectly. Remsco walks into the red dot, and well, that's how it works out. When you run into Clara and he's 8-0, he's fully streaked out. They're 1-0 up. I'd like to argue that the quarterfinals may well be over. Yeah, on the viewing side of things, at least, anyway. Olcon walking through this one. But as said, let's see if Inex can get themselves around. This is a very, very passive attack coming in from Olcon.
See if they can get themselves a kill on the board. That would be nice to at least get away with here, and it's not going to happen for OG first. And, well, you can see the streaks, we'll rather hear the streaks coming in, and Remsco, he's just going to be caught in the back of his spawn, but he's played like this almost every single defensive round, so you have to imagine that Olcon are going to have a pretty strong idea on where he's going to be on the map, and they're taking their time. The bomb's starting to make its way through this A-long lane here, and that's going to be the second use of the streak, so no more streaks, and Remsco, if he can get the timing, he might be able to find that first kill, but doesn't look like it, and the bomb should be planted at A.
Yeah, Remsco in a difficult spot right now. It is just kind of about survival at this point. Keep yourself alive, find one kill, and then go from there. And I don't think he's going to find anything apart from the bullets of Clara. Fantastic stuff from Olcon once again, proving to us and, well, to themselves exactly why they will be the favorites this evening. A very, very good performance from them. Their Visions 6-1 and 6-0 into very, very quick maps. It's often quite a hard one to cast, isn't it? It's like, what do you really say apart from just
domination? Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Yeah. They didn't even die right in the second map. Like they just played it so well, and I think it just comes down to the experience. It comes down to some of this chemistry. That's the way they're playing off each other. Disp is just breaking down the defensive setups, just shooting through lanes, finding first bloods, and it's like, what do you do when something like this is happening and no trades are following? It makes it really difficult, right? So I mean, this is the real deal. They've won 2 of the tournaments here. I'm coming to learn why they're so dominant, and if they keep playing like this, man, I don't know if any team's going to be able to stop them, but we'll have to see as we continue to go throughout.
Yeah, it's looking difficult, isn't it, for somebody to stop them, but I'd imagine they will run into stiffer competition as the day does go on. We will see them, of course, in those semi-finals, which will be shaping up. We'll get the bracket to you in just a second to see how some of those other quarterfinals have gone. Although I don't imagine that many more of them will be quite as far along as that one, because that was quite quick from Allcon nonetheless. But we will get that bracket up for you in just a second once it is up to date. But I think, looking at Allcon from your point of view, what do you think they're doing special here? Like, because I think, Inex have come in here without any disrespect to them, just not as good players and teams, but at the same time, what do you think that Allcon specifically are doing very, very well?
I think it's the way they're being really unpredictable. Like, I mean, sure, we saw a couple times in a row, like Disp was running up the middle of the map on raid and he was running through that A lane, but it took them multiple rounds to figure out how he was getting behind them. So I think it's just, understanding where they're positioned and being able to take advantage of that. Also, I mean, the mechanics on both of those players is certainly helpful when they're gunning them from across the map and making it look easy up close. But I think those are just, some of the really big factors that just make this team stand out in specific.
Yeah, look, I think that unpredictability is such a massive thing when it does come down to 2v2s, isn't it? There's a bit more of the map to be unpredictable on, in a way, isn't there? There's not so many lanes being covered automatically. It just becomes that a little bit more open, and things are looking nice and open for Allcon now. They are ready and waiting in the semi-finals, and if you feel as if you've watched Allcon there and you think, okay, right, yeah, all right, they look good, but I feel like we could be better. Compete.playstation.com is the place you want to be. If you want to get yourself entered in 2v2 S&D tournaments for free, good prizes every single month, get yourself over there. Compete.playstation.com. That's where you want to get yourself over to. At Visions, I've said it before to Rab in the past, I'm contemplating if Sony ever replaced me here, I'll probably just enter myself, because I feel we could get amongst it. It's free tournaments. I mean, if you want to run the duo, you're going to have to get through Rab first, because he picked me first. I hate to tell you, but it's something for anybody to enter. We were speaking about this before. 2v2 is kind of the foundations, if you like, of where you grow into a high level esports player on Call of Duty.
It really is. I mean, like I can remember going back and playing, like, grinding 2v2s and Ghost, Black Ops 2, 1v1s, 3v3s. Like, that's just S&D, man. That's just like how you get into the scene. Look at all these top players that we have, in the CDL that are coming from the S&D scene. Your Simps, your Abeezys, Illies. I mean, like, this is where it all starts, man. And it's so fun to play. So, yeah, you really do love to see it.
Yeah, get yourself involved. I said at compete.playstation.com. We're going to get ourselves involved, though, in a very, very short break. When we do come back, we got more games coming up here. See you soon. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the PS Tournaments Open Series Monthly Finals. My name is Ton and joined by Visions. We've got more 2v2 Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War action coming your way, and we are diving right into the semi-finals. It wasn't just Allcon speedrunning their quarterfinals, it's been going on elsewhere, so thankfully we are ready to go just about to get into these semi-finals. Now, Visions, that was impressive from Allcon, but it has to be said the game that we're going into must have went over just as quickly. We're going to have England, and I'm going to have to keep saying it that way. We can't just say it just in a normal way because they got an exclamation mark in their name, against T2F. So we are going to be getting that game ready to go very, very shortly. But Allcon looked very, very impressive. Is there anything particular you're looking in this game here that we are going to be watching that you want to see from some of these teams to potentially beat a team like Allcon? Now, that's a pretty loaded question, but I believe in you, honestly.
So, yeah, I actually think it comes down to just the simple fact that one of these duos need to show us that they can play together well and that they can play for trades and do things on the map like retake and hold positions. I think if they can show us something like that, I think throughout the series, either one of these teams, I would say that's maybe confident enough to put the test on to this Allcon roster. But I have to see that first. We can't see these solo challenges because a team like Allcon is simply going to punish you for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at the bracket, though, to see how some of these teams did get themselves into the semi-finals. Well, England with a 2-0 win and T2F with a 2-0 win. Allcon still awaiting their opposition, I should say. But, well, I'm sure they will not be too excited to be heading into that semi-final. But nonetheless, getting yourself in the top 4, as far as I'm aware, does guarantee you into that prize pool. But England against T2F is the game we're going to be watching here. T2F, is that the new T2P? I wonder. Is that what we're going to see here?
Maybe
that's what we're looking for. Look, I think for me, when it comes down to these, I'm always excited to see if we can I'm not going to say we're like literally sitting here scouting, unearthing talent, but at the same time, it's nice to see this, as we've talked about throughout the show already, that 2v2 S&D is kind of the lifeblood in a way, or at least Search and Destroy is at a smaller level, is the lifeblood of competitive Call of Duty. It's where some of the best players in the world right now originated from. So potentially this is the time to see some of the stars of the future.
I absolutely agree. I think when you're watching over S&D and you're watching over the players and the decisions that they're making, it's really telling of how good of a Call of Duty player they could be, because a lot of Search and Destroy is just situations that are intangibles that you have to be able to kind of work yourself through, right? On the fly, think and make really fast decisions. And if you could do that, then, I mean, there's certainly some sway that we'd be like, all right, maybe you can look at, taking it to the next level. And, one of these squads pulling off 2-0s, I mean, who knows what we're going to get.
Well, let's delve into these two teams, though, and see how their stats over the qualifiers are looking. Having a look at England, though, 82% losses? That's not how numbers work. Nonetheless, 2 wins over 11. I have no idea how this is going down. I'm presuming it's 11 wins to get. Yeah, okay. We'll get that figured out. But nonetheless, 11-2, not too bad of a record for England, and getting themselves through fairly handily up to this point and into the semi-finals. One of these guys who just come through, they qualify once, they feel like that's enough. It must be a confidence thing for England, at least.
Yeah, I imagine it will be here for them. And, with the run that they've made, it's funny, when I looked at the bracket, England's right at the top of the bracket. They had themselves a bye in the first round, and it feels like they have been cruising through a lot of their matches here thus far. But the same could be said for, T2F, because they just came out of a massive win there in that quarterfinal matchup. And when you're winning the quarterfinal matchups, in 2-0 fashion, I think that's going to say, all right, now this is the clash of how you guys are going to match up against one another here. So this will be, one of those, real good looks at both of these squads, and it'll give us, I think, a really fast tell on whether or not they have what it takes to be able to go up against a team like Allcon that has obviously been one of the standouts so far from what we have seen here. So this should be a really interesting run just based off of how many wins they come away with. England dropped 2 maps over the course of this run thus far. I mean, that is just a really good sign, I think, when you're coming into the semifinals and you're feeling that good about that win-loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's right for both teams to be confident, though. I think if you get to the semi-finals, you come into it and you say, all right, yeah, we've got a good chance to get into these grand finals and potentially winning it, of course. But just to touch on something before we do delve into the teams once again, the maps will change up this time around. We will go on to see Checkmate first, then Express, and then if we need it, we will see Miami. So,
all right.
I'm curious. We can maybe talk about Miami a little bit here whilst we are waiting on the teams getting ready. So Miami Search and Destroy is polarizing, I would say. I personally don't hate it as a search and destroy map as
I don't either.
a lot of people do. I think it's actually well formed. The 2v2 though, it seems very big.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that when we have seen teams play this, and Allcon specifically, both use 7-4Us. Which works, bizarrely. You will see teams quite often rush mid-street.
Right.
And it was kind of that story and over again. And I think it's testament to how good the 7-4U is. But also at the same time, I think when I first seen it, me and Rab were like, this is never going to work, but it works. It's strange. I don't know. How would you play 2v2 S&D on Miami?
So
it's kind of the question I was going into. I mean,
yeah.
It's a difficult one because it's very big. Let's get the team cards up and running whilst we are having this discussion, though. But how do you play a Miami S&D in a 2v2?
I think you got to make like a lot of heads up play calls before the rounds that start, and you got to just like blind counter. I think those are like the main ways you got to play defense on Miami, because like you over rotate like out of one of the sites, and it feels like it's so hard to retake because you don't have the numbers to bait and switch. You don't have the time to check everything, and plus running across the map probably was a good 15-20 seconds right there. So I mean, ultimately, I wish I had an answer. It just really does come down to, I think, a lot of blind counters and reading the plays before they end up happening so that you can set up counters. That is only the only way I can really think about being really strong, I think, on Miami here in the 2v2 duo.
Yeah, and well, we just had a quick look, actually, before we divulge back into that one. T2F's record looking very, very good across qualifiers and open play in general. Undefeated so far, so they'll be wanting to continue that one, of course. But yeah, Miami, it's very much an interesting one when it does come down towards these 2v2s, and I'm looking forward to see how some of these teams play it. If we can maybe mix it up, we may well not see it in the semi-finals. We absolutely will in the grand finals, though, and we will get to see that infamous all-con strategy, I would imagine, if they can get through their semi-final, which will be coming up after this game. We're nearly ready to go, I believe. We should be getting the players ready to get into this one, but let us know in the chat who you think is going to go on to win this game. T2F are kind of the favourites here, it has to be said, just with their general record, and it'd be, I don't want to say it'd be surprising for England to go on to win this one, but T2F with that record, it kind of cements them in your mind as the favourites, Visions. I think you're probably on the same wavelength there.
I think so too. I mean, just like everything that we've seen so far, it just looks like that's one of the standouts. But I mean, at the same point, they have lost before, so I think that's something you have to keep in the back of your mind if you're the other competitors coming into this, knowing, all right, like this is a team that can be taken down. It comes off of, I think, how good of a semifinal performance that you have, because you think about like a really grueling, tight, close series. You go into that next one, you're like, all right, like that took a lot out of you in order to get there. But if you have like a nice sweep and I think a convincing win in something like a semifinal, like that's enough to say, all right, we can win this entire thing. We're in the finals. We can do it. We can take down Allcon. It really does, I think, determine what ends up coming from this semifinal right here, and we'll be able to better judge whether or not there'll be a good test, I guess, or not for Allcon.
Well, I do believe, and we'll get that up to date in just a second, that the chat is probably agreeing with us for T2F to walk away with this one. As said, please do let us know which way you think this one's going to go. Yeah, I think T2F is kind of a safe option here, and they'll just, as you said, be kind of looking towards Allcon. That's the team they would probably expect to be playing that grand final if they do indeed get there, and they've got to be looking at that and thinking, right, okay, how are we going to get around Allcon? How are we going to potentially beat these guys, at least anyway? But yeah, we should be loading in fairly shortly, but we are hopefully going to have these teams ready to go. I'm curious though, let's maybe delve into some more 2v2 talk, generic S&D, etc. When it comes down to 2v2, I'm trying to think of maps specifically that in the past have worked brilliantly. Now, I don't know how far back your Call of Duty history goes, specifically Visions, but man, Call of Duty 4, when I don't know, am I showing my age here? Is this just me?
I was right after COD 4. Modern Warfare 2 was like where everything started. So like right after, but I have played Remastered, and I have played a good amount of S&D in the Remastered version, so I'm a little bit familiar.
Okay. What we saying? Backlot.
Okay, I know that map. Yeah. I absolutely know that map. That's the map of the massive building 3 stories, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I know that one.
Well, Crash has a 3-story as well. So there is.
Maybe I'm thinking of Crash.
There was a lot of maps on COD 4 that were fantastic for 2v2.
Yeah.
I know whenever we've had Rab on here, he's always on about Black Ops 3 as well. Some fantastic maps on that one in particular.
Sure.
when it does come down to 2v2 search and destroy. It's kind of one of those that it can work on a lot of maps, surprisingly. I don't know, did you, as we go over the poll results here, T2 at 90%
wow,
agreeing with us that we think obviously they're going to walk away with that one, and you guys at home do too. Now this is one for you. Now this is sending it way back. Did you play World at War?
No, I did not.
Oh man, you missed out. What a game! What a game that was. Very much an underrated one when it comes to Call of Duty. You always see these tier lists, and everyone's always like, it's always in C or D, and I hate to say it. I absolutely love that one.
You know,
biggest maps we've ever had in Call of Duty.
Yeah,
humongous.
That's true. A lot of big maps. I think Hex always touches on that too, doesn't he? I think he's always like, man, I love that map, or love that game rather. Like, there's just a lot of
good
pros that just love that era, man. Like, there was a lot of those OG maps that we have, in today's games that are the best of the best. Like, those are a lot of the ones that were kind of built and stemmed off of it. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, there was one called CeeLo.
Ooh.
And it was humongous. I'll even allow you. I don't know. Well, don't Google it because it's a town in Germany. But that was kind of the size of a town. Just in general, it was massive. I'm trying specifically to have a look for the. Yeah. Okay. So I don't even know. I can bring up the mini map. Like, okay, I even have the mini map up for it here. But obviously you can't see anything for scale. That thing was about the size of Alcatraz, I would say.
Really?
When it comes down to Rebirth Island on Warzone, for any of you guys who didn't play Alcatraz, it genuinely about that size. Absolutely humongous.
It's a massive map.
Literally, on Search and Destroy, it would spawn you. Search and Destroy was played on one half of the map, essentially. However, there was nothing stopping you going backwards into the other half of the map. It was that big. So there you go. There. Look, I just thought I'd drop a snippet on you here and there. And you learn something new every day, Vision. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely do.
I just like to delve into like previous games and talking about how 2v2 worked in them, because I think over time it's always kind of been the same, isn't it? There's always that core dimensions of how 2v2 works, and I mean we've seen it first and foremost there from all COD.
We sure did.
They played it to a T on, of course, slightly smaller maps when it comes down to Cold War, of course. Not World at War, which did have humongous maps, but nonetheless, it kind of just always works the same way. Play together, playing your trades, making sure you just work together as best you can. Be unpredictable, and things may work out. No matter if you are on a map the size of Rebirth Island, or if you are on a map in particular, such the size of Miami, or etc., etc. It kind of just works the same way every single time. Although I will say, and I've said it time and time again, that my favorite map for it is Raid. 100% has to be Raid for 2v2.
It's the flow. It's just like. There's just, whenever like I think of 2v2s, I just think of Raid. And it was funny because when we were going through just some of the surveys from the players, like I think like 80% is probably like Raid, like all-time favorite map. I think we got some slums in there. We actually do have a Miami, funny enough, from Frag Nation. I guess they're a big fan of Miami, but a lot of raids. And I think it just comes down to the way that the map works. Actually, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this time, because we have Raid back in. We know Standoff is also in the mix. And I mean, we haven't had Standoff brought into 4v4 for too long, but I'd love to see something like that in 2v2s. Are you like just as big on Standoff as you are Raid, or is it just like, no, it's not the same?
No, like Standoff, we have. I mean, for me, it's harder in 2v2 because I think there's a lot to cover. I hope we do get it in, obviously, a little bit more. But it is an interesting one for 2v2, I think. You can really commit to that specific bomb site, obviously, next to the tractor, and then you could maybe get something going on that side of things, obviously over towards A. Whereas B is obviously a little bit more open. It's one of those, I haven't seen it, so I couldn't possibly say it. And my memory is somewhat leaving me on how it used to play in Black Ops 2, when it regards to 2v2 at least anyway. But Standoff's a big one. It is a big one that's up there. I'm trying to think of other maps in particular from that Black Ops 2. I mean, Slums would be a good one. That is a good point. Slums would be a very nice one for it, that has to be said. Yeah,
Slums was just, I mean, it was a little bit tough on offense from time to time, but in 2v2s, it felt like that was the map you could break through with stuns and nades, be able to open things up a little bit more for you. Yeah, that'd be a great 2v2 map to have back in the rotation too. I'm trying to think of some more, and like I'm thinking like all the way back to Black Ops 2, we had like Meltdown. Trying to like think of some other ones. Like I remember playing 2s on that map, and that's kind of similar to Miami in the sense where it's almost like playing like a little hide and go seek, where it's a massive map, right? And you're trying to figure out where these players are located, and it's not easy from time to time. It's not easy.
I think I'm just going to go through maps just in general. Let's have a look. I mean, one thing you know, we both kind of have been involved in from time to time is Call of Duty Mobile, and of course they have plenty of ones on there. I think Nuketown was always a fun one. Hijacked would be a good 2v2 map. I'm just having a look through. I mean, they've got loads of great maps like Crash. Obviously, we talked about that. Firing Range, never a bad 2v2 map. I think it just kind of works for a lot of these different ones. But yeah, let us know in the chat which way you think we could go with these maps. Which maps would you love to see in 2v2 S&D? Not that we can just request them. We can't just
just add them in, get in the rotation,
throw them in for us, you know. But nonetheless, I'm trying to cast my mind back. Obviously, if it, Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, Dome was always an interesting map.
I always forget about Dome.
Now we're throwing it back.
Modern Warfare 3.
We played that in our region at the time. Obviously, when things were split in terms of different sort of settings, etc. We played CTF on that. I don't know.
I remember that. I do.
Yeah, that's so in Mod 3 CTF.
Yeah, fantastic. CTF was played. S&D, like I remember playing. Like actually, I remember watching. Like that was like one of the first, I guess so to speak, like COD champs almost that we got. I guess it was COD XP, and I remember like them doing like a full like 8 screen on like all the players on Dome, and it was just like so chaotic. Such a small map, but it plays so well just because of I don't know, just that game and just like the weaponry. It always felt fitting. I guess that's one I always forget about. I don't know why, because it's like one of those small maps like a Nuketown or like a Rust, but it's like never brought into the same conversation, you know.
Yeah, Scrapyard as well. Obviously, we have that iteration of it in Warzone specifically, at least in there. I mean, and there's the side of the map as well, sorry, that is... we have Vacant on, which is from COD 4.
Right.
You came in slightly after, so you won't know it, but going into there, for me especially, I think it's always just like, oh, okay, yeah, this was a great map, Vacant. So that's further over towards... Like, it's kind of in between, like, Port... Well, it's pretty much in Port. It's just on the other side, Port, in between Port and Prison. It's like the building over that way. So that's always a good 2v2 map. Having a look through some other ones as well. Terminals maybe a touch big, I would say. If it's, well,
we're playing Miami. We could throw it in, son. We could throw it in.
That's very true. You know, you do make a fair point. Rust would always be an interesting one. That's kind of where we're at. Wasteland, I wouldn't expect that to come into that. I mean, we're really throwing it back here as well. If you want High Rise, oh my goodness me, that would be it would be an incredible one, it has to be said. But hopefully we are, Nelly, ready to jump into things here, because I'm sure you are sick of us absolutely waffling on. But let us know in the chat any of the maps in particular. I see all you guys coming in here to hang out, and let us know what maps you would love to see in a 2v2 S&D tournament. Of course, it does make things very, very interesting. So that was the Modern Warfare 2 maps. I'm going to run out of Call of Duty games.
Yeah, we are. We're going to run through them. That's a lot of them.
I know we are going to be jumping in very, very shortly. But Dome, of course, was a good one. Right now, this is a map that I loved. Arcaden.
Oh, it was like the green map in Modern Warfare 2, yeah? Like it was Arcaden.
It was Modern
Warfare 3.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was like Arcaden.
Oh, it had the like escalator. It was a CTF map. Oh my.
Yeah,
we're going down like memory lane here.
Oh no, man! I am taking bootleg as well. Oh man, that was a great map.
That was an excellent competitive map. The platform, grade 3 lanes.
Yeah, we are really going way back here now. But nonetheless, we are coming very much back to the present, and we are heading into checkmate in this game. And look, it's been a long time getting this one set up and ready to go. So I hope the players are feeling warmed up. T2F coming up against England, and let's see which way it goes. T2F, of course, the ones with the record that does sort of stand out here. They're all going to be on board with England, though. How are we going to say his game attack? Grimzer, McGill is easy. Petacek, you're something. Taser. It must be Taser.
That's what I was thinking.
Taser kind of makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Grimzer, Taser, we'll have to rock with that. And well, right now, Taser, he's got a nice little camo here rocking on it. So is that like it's like a version of like the Dark Matter, but we'll see if it wins them a gunfight. It does, smokes him, and that's a solo play. His teammates behind him. That was with the bomb as well. So Taser makes a pretty aggressive play, and it will play out here in his favor. And now McGill has gotten a 1v2 with about 50 seconds left.
Still doable though. Stop them getting on the bomb site. Well, he will do that, McGill. Right. As Peak start. Well, Peak has advantage really coming in there, it has to be thought. McGill finding the shots, and the Taskmaster actually obviously coming up there. Did he manage to spot him? But the information's out. Did he see him push the right-hand side? I think McGill did. This is a crazy 1v1. Taser putting the shots in, up the ladder, going for the chase. Is he going to expect him in the corner? No, he is not. Oh, my goodness me. And the body shots to follow. Oh, give me that spicy round number 1.
Yeah, these guys, they're not fooling around whatsoever there. And that was just one of those plays where you're looking at it and you're like, is he going to be able to slip away? And you just go chasing because you're never expecting McGill to slip into this tight little corner, and you just come running by. McGill says, you should have checked your corners. Here's a couple little more body shots, and we'll let him know. So that was a very nice round, but that was off the back end, of Taser's first blood. So, 1v2 to kick this one off here. It's exactly where you want to be if you're T2F.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. They didn't listen to Captain Price all those years ago, though, did they? Check your corners. Didn't happen that time around. Big air hit coming in here from T2F, though. And it is something that becomes a lot more viable, although it is less viable in a 1v2. Grims are now just going to try and get out. Goes for the turn. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Taser's just been melted. Now the question is, which way does he go for this gunfight? Grims, he's going to challenge us again. He's got the SMG. Surely he goes for it here. Oh my goodness me. What? Has he stuck the wall?
I think he did. I think Grimser threw the Semtex right on the wall, and, well, we all know the Semtex does stick to things, so that is rather unfortunate. I mean, if it's a situation where, like, you're trying to throw the nade down on the ground because you're expecting a challenge, like, maybe you can see that, but I think it was just a missed throw on it. But we'll take a look at how this one kind of started off, where Grimser is just in a position, dropping the bomb, plays his life for a second, then, oh, man, Taser just absolutely gets the business up in his face there with a nice 180 turn, and that's what ignites the round there for us.
That was quite a quick kill time, wasn't it? He died very quickly. Taser. Nonetheless, though, into round number 3, it looks like we are going to have a competitive game between these two teams. Blow for blow. Aggressive defense on the A side of things. Taser's ready and waiting. Miguel's going to put the pressure on, though. Not able to do much there, though. Vision's 1v2 for him.
Did 1v2 the very first round. We'll see if he can do it again. It just comes down to that first pick, and plenty of time to play with. On the defense as well, but Taser's going to spot him out. Shots come through, going to tag him up just a little bit on the staircase, and, well, here comes the collapse, but still a chance for an isolated 1v1. McGill not ready for the push in from behind, and that is going to be now the second round on the board for England, coming out here with a couple of nice first bloods that kick off these rounds.
Excuse me.
Into round 4 we go, and we'll see how this one plays out for us. So far, Taser's been very aggressive, and you can see that. I mean, he's already got 3 and 2 stat lines, so he's been up in the faces of a couple of these players here. We'll see if that continues. Big defensive round, but a big round you want to get if you're T2F. Don't want to go down 3-1 at least this early on. It will be Grimser. He's been bringing this bomb to the middle of the plane here a couple of times. It's a big responsibility, and he's actually going to spot out on one. So good information. Just going to play his life and backs down. Now we'll see if he can try and maybe work for a plant. The trophy system's invested. That is really the interesting situation about this part. We'll see if he might be able to maybe wrap around. But again, this is with the bomb. So if you see a kill come through for England, it's going to make it very difficult for McGill to pick up the bomb and come through on this play. 40 seconds left in this round now. But the trophy still being down B. McGill starting to inch up. Going to be right here with his teammate. You're going to have the collapse start to come on through, and we'll see if they can make a first blood happen.
See if they can do it. Sorry, there's a minor breakdown on my side of things, and maybe on England's side of things on the defense. Taser now looking to try and find a kill, and then that might make things a little bit easier. The shot's coming through, though, but there's the information. There's the challenge as well in T2F. Find the round to tie things up 2-2.
I just love the patience. I mean, just really slowing everything down completely, like not letting that first kill come through without a trade, and ultimately they get there here on the collapse. So that was a very nice change up little bit of a different round coming on through with no interactions really happening for like the first minute of play, but that's enough for the round, and that's enough to get us tied up here at 2 apiece, Ton.
Close game.
Very.
Which after game number 1 is exactly what we wanted to see, really, wasn't it?
Truly.
Here we go then. It's been different kind of rounds every single time as well. It's not necessarily going the same way. It's very tight in one round, then it's a close out in a 2v1. It's very easy to do. We've seen 1v2s. And that's had a bit of everything so far. No definite favourites at this moment in time on this map specifically. Checkmate. Very much an even one, and it does look like a push over towards B, but England kind of back on down, and A might be the hit instead.
Ooh, I really like this, but they're going to have to battle through an AR likely, and it is McGill, and he has that Krig just shouldering up and down, trying to play for info, and he's about to find it. We're going to need Taser to lay this, and I don't know if they've spotted them just yet. They will now. McGill able to get the cover, but that's enough fire to be able to at least get this bomb dropped.
Look what the retake's looking like. Both players here from T2F pushing the same side. Looking to try and find that first gunfight. Force the 2v1. Taser must have heard them. He has done. Oh, he isn't able to win the gunfight though, and Grimza will find it. Now a 2v1. Check looking to try and get this one done. Not in the best spot to get anything done. That's an interesting game attack, it has to be said, but nonetheless. 3-2 now. T2F. Looking good for them.
Yeah, that was a really nice retake. I mean, they did it from their side of the map, and Taser took a really aggressive challenge there, you know, coming out of the yellow crate, and because he doesn't win that gunfight, it isolates his teammate. We'll see McGill try and get back on one, but it's just going to be the easy collapse, making sure they lock down the round. The post setup just not strong enough, and just breaking it down here. T2F really taking their time in a lot of the rounds. Offense, defense, they're not rushing anything. I really like this adaptation that's played out here for the last 2 rounds.
Let's see if they can continue it here. England now setting up inside of B. Well, at least Taser is as well. I mean, this is a bit of a topsy-turvy round. I don't think anyone... I mean, look at this split, the minimap in the bottom left corner. It's such a strange one, but Taser is going to tag him up with a stun. Is going to find the kill as well. Grimza gets caught out with the AR at close range. But I don't think for 1 second they have a clue where McGill is.
Oh, McGill's got a sub this time around, so he's got to backtrack. Oh, Taser's got to play his life. Oh, almost able to come out with it. That's a tough gunfight for Taser, but he at least makes him work for it. And look at the positioning. We're going to see Petr just all the way in the corner here. He's going to have a lot of information, might be able to hear some sound cues on a movement through A long, and might even have heard that slide. We'll see. Yeah, he's looking. He's looking for sure. He's going to hold the trigger, come from behind, and, well, these are moments where you don't want to miss your shots, Ton, and he's not going to miss them. England, they find it. And we're going to go 3-3.
3-3. I'm curious, are you aware of who Petr is?
I'm not.
You're not. He was a goalkeeper for Chelsea. In a football team. There you go. You mustn't like him very much. He may well be a Tottenham fan. That could be it. Who knows what Petr has ever done to this man, but nonetheless, he has decided to tell him that he's not very good as a goalkeeper with his tag on PlayStation.
I bet he likes England, though.
Yeah, interesting concept nonetheless. Petr, however, was not English, as you can imagine with a name like that. Nonetheless. McGill now, holding back over towards B. As we have our lull here, I was trying to figure out, I can't remember where Petr is from, but it's actually the Czech Republic. There you go. Makes a lot of sense. There you go. Look, I mean, the things you learn
so much, Ton. Like, I got my notepad in front of me. Like, I'm taking notes throughout the day. It's great. What's also great is the first blood that McGill has now found onto Taser, and that's going to be Petr just going to try and drop the bomb here. This is one of those desperation plays, and you know that T2F has been playing slow retakes, and you get information on one, so this is doable, but he's got to win this first battle.
So if you can, it's not going to happen. Unfortunate that Petr just could not quite find that first kill, and then it becomes somewhat unmountable, but In this case, T2F are going to take a lead again. It kind of feels that, not necessarily in control for them, but they feel the more likely team at this moment in time. Not too sure if you agree with that one, Visions, but
I do.
Good play from T2F there.
I just think it's the way that they're playing the map right now. Like every defensive round, they're sitting on the back steps. They're just playing for information. It really does feel like they're just playing into their hand in a lot of these situations, and they're taking full advantage of it here. And McGill, he's been solid with a lot of these first bloods. Not only that, but he's also come out with, you know, a 1v2 in that first round here. So it's been tough, but England, they're on the defense. I think this map really is about winning your defensive rounds, and if you can make some magic happen on offense, then you're usually sitting in a pretty good spot. But this is one of those rounds where you need it. If you're England in the early tag, you're going to push Taser off the site.
Oof. Very, very weak, and well, McGill is dead. So Grams are now going to have to come up with the 1v2, and well, yeah, just walking into that line of sight. 4-4 now. Very much back and forth between these two teams. I feel as if, as the game has gone on, one of these defensive rounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's where things may well be decided here.
We will see. Big offense and a chance to be able to pull ahead. And we've seen England work through this A side a couple of times. It almost feels like they're favored to do it, but they've been a lot more aggressive on their offensive rounds than T2F here. And you can see it again. I mean, Taser's going to one side of the map and Petr going to the other side of the map. So it very much is trying to find isolated players here on the defense. And, well, Petr able to at least sniff out one. Crimser's going to be tanked heavily, but he has a trophy system over him.
Bit more passive this time from T2F, although I say that, and Grimser has really pushed his way up the map, hasn't he? McGill going to back on down and give some support over towards B. Pushing forward, but Taser very aggressive as well. Well, the thing is, for Taser, surely he gets traded even if he finds one. Positioning wise, England not necessarily as close together as I would personally like. Work out the Taser here. Oh, no, it's not going to. He's going to lose the bomb in a horrible spot. How did they know he's there?
I have no idea, but look what this does. I mean, Petr he just got to go, right? He doesn't have any options, and waiting in the plane, T2F. I mean, I have no idea how they knew he was behind him, but that turn from McGill, like, that wins him the round right here. Look, he just does a little shoulder check, and I think he sees a name tag. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Taser. He spent so much time making that play, and for it to not work out and get closed down in his face like that, that is devastating now heading into round 10.
Big round that. T2F now having to attack to win. At least at 6-4 anyway. It's going to be an interesting one. Can England defend? And, well, very aggressive player of Remza here once again. They may well have heard that slide. McGill not necessarily in a position to help out just yet. That grenade may give Grimser the opportunity to push through, and, well, okay, just swap sides and, well, forces Taser out. And he's done well to escape unscathed. Gets himself into a great position now. Has to be said, just stay alive if you Petr at the back. And he does that just about. Taser will find one. McGill falls. Can the trade come through? No, it cannot. And it's 2 quick kills. And we're heading to round number 11.
Wow, what an individual play coming on in. I mean, I didn't think it was going to work out, especially after, you know, the hop comes up. Sometimes you're just listening to those down cues, but McGill not watching the right side, and then Taser reads the second player so well, knowing that they're both inside the plane, holds his angle, gets on top of cover, and that pre-aim is enough to bring home the second, and that's also enough to get us to around 11, as you said here, Ton. So a very spicy map number 1 between T2F and England.
And it's going to be T2F on the defense, though, and we feel as if that may well be the deciding factor here. Tons of grenades going out, though, looking for that little bit of information. That's where champions are made, these round 11s. England looking for the push over towards A here, though. Vision's bomb may well be going down.
Yeah, looks like Taser might be able to get this off. McGill has played this angle almost every defensive round, but he's not going to see Taser. Taser should be able to get out with his life. So we saw them break this down before. They're going to retake from their side, and it looks like they're going quick.
Oh, Crimson's going to fall. England in the driving seat now. It's up to McGill. Coming in here for the 1v2 potentially. He's going to be challenged. He gets stuck, and England take the win in map number 1. 6-5 on checkmate. And what a game that was. So back and forth. And eventually, it was the attack that did come through for England. This bomb plant comes in, and that just makes things that little bit easier, doesn't it, Visions?
Oh, it doesn't ever. I mean, you just got to give a really big call out to Taser here. Just a lot of big gunfights being won. Look at this. Crimson's coming around the corner like that with the pre-fire, essentially figuring out that he's going to be here, and does not happen. Taser goes, what? I think gets 3, maybe even all 4 in those last 2 rounds there. Brings it back, 5-4 down. Oh, that's what we love to see in these 2v2s right there, son. That gets the juices flowing. That's a great first game, and that's got to be just a horrible loss here, for the side of T2F there after going up 5-4.
Yeah, they'll be feeling despondent in that one. I think something we talked about at the top of the show when it does come down to some of these 2v2 strategies, etc. We say that sticking together is fantastic, but what is achievable is 1v2s. We quite often say when it gets to the point of like a 1v3 or a 1v4, that's where things are really difficult, but 1v2s are very achievable, and it's kind of what you're looking for in these games. If you aren't finding those first bloods, you need to find those clutch situations. And in this scenario, there wasn't necessarily that 1v2 option coming in for McGill and Co. They couldn't quite find those. And for Taser, look, finding all those kills towards the end, he may as well have been in 1v2s. Fantastic performance from him. And England will now find themselves up 1-0 in this series. And we will now be heading over towards Express. And that is an interesting one, it has to be said. A bit more open and wider, of course, than Checkmate. Are we expecting the same sort of thing? A very, very close game?
I'm expecting the same thing. Pending that we get a bounce back here for T2F. They can just kind of take a little reset, and they're able to play the same way. I would say things are probably just as close. I mean, they're very well matched, and I think it's the way that they're also playing some of their offenses and defenses. You can tell there's a little bit of strategy going into it. They're making some adjustments, in the middle of these rounds, which is always necessary in S&D. But a map like Express, I mean, it is a little bit of a different beast. Both bomb sites are very far apart from each other, and a lot of these rotations happen through the middle of the map, which means that you have to be very wary of where your opponents are. They're not sitting in corners on the tracks and things like this, cutting you down. You can hop up and down on the train. You never used to be able to do that in Black Ops 2, but the jumping in this game, you can jump right up and you can look for those bomb checks when you get the bomb down here. So it can be really difficult to try and retake some of these post-plant setups. But I mean, I'm very excited to see how things play out on Express, and I'm very excited to see this England squad because Taser with the sub, get me more of that, man. He looked fantastic.
Yep, using the 7-4U very, very well. Good performance out of him in map number 1. But can they continue it on? That's the thing.
That's right.
It's not one of those things where you can just go on to win one map and that gets you done. You need to find 2, of course, in these semi-finals. We will have the other semi-finals come after this as well. And then, of course, into those grand finals when we do get there. Interesting though, I honestly thought that TF, it felt like, as we mentioned about halfway through, that they were kind of in control, and they were to a point there.
Yeah.
I think for you in particular, what went wrong there, because I mean, it has to be that A plant coming off scot-free is one of those where you can't let it happen, but at the same time, it's not unplausible for that to happen. Of course, the sneak around the corner, but as soon as that bomb goes down, it's such a hard task.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really came down to just not being able to, like you said, watch over the A site. But 2, I wish they actually took the retake a little bit slower, because right before I threw to you on the final call, they had actually played a previous round where they had the retake A really slow, patient, and it felt like they rushed it a little bit too fast there, where one player cuts to the middle of the map and McGill is still sitting at the back watching a pre-aim to see if someone challenges through that box on the site. So I think it was just a little bit of pressure that ended up getting to them there in that final round, and they were unable to pull off what was working for them in the previous rounds.
Yeah, look, I think it comes into the clutch ups from Taze. I mean, look, the SMG play from him, it was massive in those scenarios, and I wonder when it does come down to Express though, is it going to be as plausible for him to be doing these plays? It has to be said, those bomb sites do have those close quarters engagements that do come on through quite often, to a certain degree, at least anyway, in certain parts of each of those bomb sites. whether on be on the defense or on the attack. Is he going to have those situations again, you would think?
I think it's very possible, because I think a lot of what happens on Express is your individual sub player, because you're typically going to run one AR, one sub. And I think if someone like Taser, is running up the likes of B and is getting it to the top, waiting for a challenge, and he wins that, like, he's dropping that rock immediately, and you got yourself, a really good opportunity to play off of the plant. So I think just a lot of what happens running through the middle halls, going into control, fighting for top control, like a lot of that is done by your AK-74U. So I would imagine Taser, pending he's comfortable on the map, you might be able to put up a very similar performance that he just did there for us on the checkmate.
For you on Express specifically, I mean, what's the bomb site you're looking at here for T2F to maybe turn this one round? Is there anything particular, or do you think it's just about being fluid in terms of just playing on your heels, so to speak, and figuring out which way you want to go each round? Or do you think for them, is after what we've seen about number one, is there anything specific they should be doing on Express? Again, kind of a loaded question, but
I mean,
what's their route back in, essentially?
I think their way back in is just going in with that first round, like not going down to a deficit. Like that's always the worst thing that happens, because you just got iced up on. You lost a map that you probably should not have lost with some of the tempo control that they had. So I think it's just like all about coming into this with a clear mind and taking those first and second, like the first two rounds, making sure you don't go down to a deficit, and then playing off of the control bomb site, which I believe is A, if I remember correctly. And if you can play off of that A bomb site and get top control, drop the bomb, like it is so much that you have to look for when you're on the defense and you have to play for a retake. There's so many spots. You got to look in the train, you got to look bottom lockers, top control, the catwalks. Like there's a lot to look for. So if I'm looking at like a plan to attack, so to speak, I'd love to see them, I think, try and set up around that site and see if they can get some bombs down or work for some first bloods.
Okay, well, let's see if they can get things going here. I think it's one of those maps that aggression is really something that we do quite often expect when it does come down to Express, and I think teams aren't going to be fine for that map control. Get as much real estate behind their backs, and then move from there and see what you can figure out, whether that be planting or on the defensive side of things. That's the route to go down. But yeah, I'm excited to get into Express, and we may well see Miami, of course, and it's definitely plausible that we do. Just after how that first map did play out, of course, it was very, very close between these two, coming out a 6-5 victory for England, and we should be heading in to map number 2 in a second. But I am curious. We can maybe go back to the chat that we were having about former maps and what we could see coming on through. Again, we like to just delve down the rabbit hole that is Call of Duty from time to time. Now, I'm trying to think. Let's maybe go back Black Ops 1.
Oh, we
are on a Treyarch title, aren't we? So maybe we could think of ones that we would like to see remastered. We've seen a lot of these. One Array would be a good one. Summit, I don't know how you feel about Summit.
I think
we've already seen that one done before.
Yeah, we've done Summit over COD Mobile, and I think Summit plays pretty well in a lot of those game modes. So I think it plays just as well in S&D. It was in the S&D rotation back then in Black Ops 1 too. I'm trying to think of there was Array, and then I'm trying to think of another one, because there was, I think it was Havana.
That's Havana was pretty good.
I think it was Havana. And there was a lot of really good 2v2 S&D maps. It's funny because we were thinking about that, and I was like also thinking about Ghost, and I was thinking of like Warhawk and like some of these OG maps as well that were like just like almost were meant for 2v2, it feels like, even though they were like 6v6 maps. It's just like the way the maps were set up in Ghost, like that was like a 2v2 game, kind of like as I remember it. I guess that was maybe just where I spent the majority of my time. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of them that they could bring back that I think would be really, really fitting for a lot of the 2v2s that take place.
Yeah, there's so many different maps that we could get back, but it's one of those when I said I just kind of feel like 2v2 can work on any kind of map. You just have to know how to play it correctly and how to work it out. It's one of those where you have to adapt to every single map, of course. When it comes down to Miami, we'll see the adaptations when we do get there, whether it be in map number 3 here in the semifinals or in the grand finals, of course. You've just kind of got to play it to what's in front of you. But it's no different to 4v4 in that respect, but 2v2 is just a little bit more of an open space to get into.
And like specifically for like the 2v2s in this tournament, like you really have to be well diverse, because you know you're not going through like a veto system where you're banning maps and you're picking maps. You're basically going in saying this is like our set of maps for this specific round. So if you have a couple of weak maps that are thrown in that rotation, I mean, those are also when we see maybe 2v2 duos not find themselves in the most comfortable spot, which is not where anyone wants to find themselves in a semifinal here. But I mean, based off what we've seen so far, they seem to be pretty comfortable. Also, a lot of wins that have been packed up for these individuals. They played a lot of maps on the day throughout this entire thing as well. So you have to imagine a lot of the prep is there, a lot of the practice is there. It is just coming down to saying, all right, like what is our plan? And then if they do end up countering us the first couple rounds, you have to be able to make some of these fast responses, because this is what our Alcon team is doing, right? They're making some of these decisions. They're able to flip some of these scripts on their heads and just completely take over. And if you can't do that, then you might have a really difficult time when you get there and you end up meeting them. So this is something we've seen so far in the first map, and I expect it to continue at least throughout the next two if we end up going the distance.
Yeah, I'm curious if we are going to get towards Miami. I just want to apologize to the stream. Hopefully, you are getting into the game very, very shortly. Just had an issue with getting players in the lobby, etc. But such as online gaming, we should be heading in very, very shortly into what could be the conclusion of this first semi-final, what could be the second of three maps that we potentially may well get. The other semi-final, though, I know it'll be nearly ready to go. I'm actually just trying to keep an eye on that. It is going to be, let's have a look at the team name here. This is an interesting one that we're going to have to pronounce very, very well. I don't know how your Portuguese is as the team that are coming through are Portuguese. It is, of course, Relaxados no Busque. I have no idea what that means. I may well have just sworn in Portuguese. Who knows? I Need a Nerf, and I've got them skills are going to be coming through up against, of course, Alcon in that other semi-final. But this one is the one we have to deal with before we do get there. Express is coming up, England, of course, with that 1-0 lead here coming in. And, well, T2F need to turn this one round, it has to be said. For me, I said it felt like they were the more comfortable team for what was the majority of that previous map on Checkmate. But heading into this one now, can they get it done in two here, England, or do we see a map number 3?
This is what it comes down to, Ton. Can you bounce back? Can you regain? T2F, they're going to have to. They want to keep their run alive. And, well, better to go on board with than Taser, coming off of some icy rounds there. And this time around, he's actually got the Krig. And, I mean, look at this. Petrchek is going to do exactly what we framed up here. Just very aggressive. Grimzar is also up top, but he is not expecting the challenge. And will there be a two-piece? It'll be very close. Petrchek tags him up, goes to the Diamati, but McGill is able to hold on to his life for a second longer. Not going to matter in the end. England, they will find themselves the first round.
Nicely done. England start off exactly where they would have wanted after map number 1. Taser coming in. And McGill always going to get cut off in that scenario. Well played by England. They will continue their winning streak. That's 3 rounds in a row for them. And I wonder if the heads of T2F have gone that little bit. Coming in, looking for the reset. You lose round number 1 fairly convincingly. It's one of those that does hurt. And just to let you know, Relaxados no Busque in Portuguese means relaxed in the forest.
Relaxed in the forest. That's a great team name.
It's a very nice team name, isn't it?
I like that one.
Not what I expected it to say.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
Sometimes in these tournaments, with those team names, like, you assume the worst after after doing this for a long time,
It's going to be a big hit now from England. Or is it? It's a rotation back round through the defensive side spawn by the looks of things. And maybe a wrap all the way around towards A here, Visions.
Looks like it. I mean, he's just been so snappy when rotations like this are being made. And the key is he gets it with his life and they get the information. So that should allow you to really pinpoint where they're going to be on the map and likely where they're going to drop this bomb. And it looks like that's going to be going right over to A. But Taser, he does cut off the middle of the map. Just can't slip away. And now 1v1.
Grimza going up against Petrchek. This is a big round, even though it is just early. Petrchek, is he going to find the gunfight? And Grimza, it takes a lot of bullets. But the problem being here, though, there's not that much time. Oh my goodness me. And then England are going to get it done. Oh, that's a big round, it feels. Momentum just still swinging. Over towards the side of England right now. Petrchek, very well done. 2-0 driving seat.
And if it wasn't Taser icing up, it's Petr now icing up. And I mean, this is really what you want to see out of a strong 2v2 duo. And it just feels like, you know, T2F, there's a lot of these situations where they're gathering information, they're in strong positions. It's just coming down to execution and these gunfights that just seem to be going the way of England, at least thus far. But over towards A will go now to round 3. They're going to have Taser. It looks like he's just waiting for some kind of information. He's going to get a peek here. This could be really big on the bomb. There's the kill. Immediately drops down, and now 1v2 for McGill.
Doesn't feel like Express. The map that T2F are enjoying here, and Taser will spot McGill. The grenade not the best, but it will force him away nonetheless. And well, yeah, he's just ready and waiting. It really doesn't feel like T2F are locked in yet when it comes down to Express Visions. This has been quite simple so far.
It has been, and it's off the back end of this like really intelligent play. Like you're just playing the odds right here. Taser's just like, all right, I'm going to lay down. I'm a little bit exposed, so if they challenge from Catwalk, I might be, you know, eliminated. But the risk that you're taking is that if they don't check it, they don't go to Catwalk, and they come to A, then you get a free kill and you get it with your life. And they just use the numbers so well. And we saw a little bit of T2F, you know, clutching these 1v2s at the beginning of the first map on Checkmate. It's not been the case here thus far. And now they're going to make an aggressive move on the B site. They have a lot of options to push through, and Taser, he's just waiting for someone to potentially do it down low, but it won't happen. Everyone's going to backtrack here on T2F.
Need to find a round very quickly, it feels. They've already lost that third round, which we quite often do put quite a lot of importance on, don't we? Stun's going to go out. A little bit of info potentially here for T2F. Are they going to run into Taser? Yes, they are. Finds the first gunfight. That bomb will go down. Crimson now another 1v2 to try and find. He should find the bomb carrier here. Is he going to be able to get traded out? Well, he didn't find the carrier, but he did get traded nonetheless. England 4-0. My goodness me, this is looking good for them on Express.
Oh, this is just really good 2v2 play. Like the first 3 rounds, it was all about playing together, but now that you have a bit of a cushion and you can give up, so to speak, a round or two and still have a lead, you can play so much more aggressive, and you're just seeing them split the map up, not playing for trades. They're just in really unexpected situations, and that has now resulted to a 4-0 count where Grimzer and McGill, like, we need you. It's now or never. You can't go down 5-0. It's just too much to mount a comeback with. And this offense, Ton, this one, it has to be it. And luckily, they do have an open site, so it might be a good start.
Surely we can get this bomb down and then maybe do something from there. But Taser, I mean, on the tracks, it's a difficult one. And, well, Petr just ready and waiting to pounce. He'll make the call. Somebody's weak. He's on the bomb. Make the push. Maybe a bit of a war of attrition here as teams just kind of jostling for a little bit of control. Very, very close here. Could explode at any moment here, Visions.
Sure could. Taser, 3 in a row. You got to shut this man down right here if you're going to get this done. And, well, there's the peak. Petr gets away with 1, and McGill another 1 versus 2. I feel like we've said this almost every single round, and this time he does find the first one. Oh, he can't snap for the second. The trade is there. England will come through. They are now up 5-0.
Huge. Absolutely cruising here. Oh, England, and honestly, it's come as a bit of a surprise considering what we've seen in map number 1. Very close, back and forth. It definitely feels like T2F have maybe just lost their heads that little bit.
This is exceptional. I mean, McGill gets his first kill in that round, and you got to come away with 6 in a row. Grimzer also, you know, just on 1. Like, this has just been about a flawless performance of Petr and Taser. And, well, I thought the Semtex was going to stick him, but it doesn't matter. Taser just takes the challenge head on. That just screams confidence. And now it's going to be McGill. Guess what, Ton? Another 1v2.
1v2 he has to find to keep his team in the tournament. Doesn't feel like that bomb not quite going down yet, but it will do in a second. Is he going to get some good timing here, though, McGill? You're not in a bad spot to do this at all. Oh, Taser, though, decided to rotate this. They are going to spot him. The shots are just that little bit better in England. 6-0. Map number 2, and they will take a 2-0 win here. in the semi-final that will advance on to the grand finals here. PS Tournament's Open Series monthly final. What a performance from them. Specifically in map number 2, their vision's very, very convincing. They will get things done and will get themselves that spot in that grand finals.
That was just, I mean, like, it doesn't get better than that. You didn't drop around. I think you had, what, a couple of deaths at most there throughout the entire thing. Like, that was just a solid performance coming through in the map 2. And it's so anticlimactic because we go to the map 1, it's like 6-5, it's Taser icing up. And listen, sometimes teams, they can't bounce back after losses like that, right? And you can see that clearly affecting them in the map 2.
Yeah, it seemed that way. They definitely weren't playing the same way as what we've seen in map number 1. It felt a little bit jaded, didn't it? It felt like challenges coming out and just first blood's always going over towards England. But nonetheless, England will advance on through to that grand final. Let's have a look at the bracket, see how things have shaped up so far in Europe this evening. There you go. England are through. We do have another semi-final to contend with, though. Relaxados no bosque. Relaxing in the forest. What a name we have said before. Olcon, though, are the potential other grand finalists here. It has to be said they looked phenomenal in their first game. Returnal actually losing to Relaxados no Bosque, a team we have seen in these Open Series tournaments before, specifically on Cold War. So interesting to see if anything can transpire here in the second semi-final. But I feel as if England are going to be a tough test for whoever does make it through.
Absolutely. I mean, even if we see this Alcon roster, step up like they've been doing, getting to another grand final, I think with the way that England was playing, like, they have a really good shot at being able to take them down. Taser was icing up. He looked solid in a lot of situations here. It just comes down to, will they make it through or not? Will we get an upset? You never know. I mean, you have a bad map 1, and we can see what it can do to you in the rest of a best of 3, right? So anything can happen, and we'll see what ends up taking place in the semifinal.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to get over towards that second semi-final, but as mentioned, if you do feel as if you could compete with these guys, get yourself to compete.playstation.com. Free tournaments every single month, not just on Cold War, on plenty more. Go check out the website, get yourself involved. But once again, we are going to go for a very short break. We've got the second semi-final coming up after this. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the PS Tournament's Open Series Monthly Finals. My name is Tun, joined by Visions. We've had some fantastic 2v2 action so far, and a couple more games to go. We're delving into our second semi-final here, Visions. So once again, a pleasure to have you alongside me. And we are ready to jump into what should be our favorites once again in All-Con. And, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue the form that we've seen in that quarterfinals.
That's right. I mean, this will be, the big look at whether or not they can keep this going. I mean, they looked completely solid when we were watching over them last time around. I think it was the map 2 on Checkmate. They didn't even die, I don't think, once throughout that entire map. So it was flawless. We had everything going for themselves. And yeah, this is the team to beat for sure right now in this bracket.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at what their journey looked like well past the round of 8. Of course, beating INEX 2-0 in one of the more convincing series that we've seen here in the Open Series finals, of course. Going in here, though, into their semi-finals against Relaxados Non Bosque, Returnal with a team who they beat in that quarterfinals. And Returnal are a team who we have seen before in these tournaments, so it's one of these things where they've got to look at that one. I'm just trying to remind myself of Returnal. So Ryzen and Forfeit. Okay, so these are players who, they do ring a bell, so to speak. And looking at that's a big result for them in a 2-1 series. However, All-Con, as far as I remember, have dealt with Returnal before, so they will be feeling confident heading into this one, I have no doubt. But for Relaxados No Bosque, this is one where I suppose the pressure is not on. But let's have a look into these teams and see how their results over the qualifiers do break down. Relaxados No Bosque, here we go. We've got I Need an Earth and Gunny coming in. Both young lads from Lisbon and Portugal, of course. You ever been to Portugal, Visions? It's a beautiful place.
I have not. I want to. I need to get outside of North America. That's what I need to
do. 22 wins, 5 losses across the board in the qualifiers, and of course in here in the finals as well. An 81% win rate. Looks like they have weaknesses, though, it has to be said. And if they are going to be going up against teams like All-Con, it is going to make things very, very difficult. Clara and your Brett, although it's interesting to see what tags they're coming in with, of course, in game. But Clara is somebody who's been here all the way through. The 2 losses surprises me to no end. It has to be said. I haven't seen All-Con look like losing whatsoever.
I mean, that's got to be a good sign for all of your competition here in the bracket, seeing at least that they've lost a couple of times. It's like, all right, they do bleed. We can take them down. It's possible for sure. But, I mean, it's not going to be an easy task. And I feel like you need, a really strong performance to come out with against these guys. And you have to make sure you're at least matching what they're doing overall here, in the map, making sure they're not taking over, they're not building up streaks, right? All these things that we saw them do in the first set that just, cannot be allowed to happen, or else they'll just completely run away with it.
Absolutely, but well, I mean, you guys at home may know well better than us. Who you think is going to win this game? Is it going to be All-Con? Is it going to be Relaxados de Bosque, which no Bosque, which was we did figure out if anyone wasn't around was relaxing in the forest. I think that's what I said it was, wasn't it? It's beautiful.
I think
absolutely
so, yeah.
Fantastic. I think they deserve to win based on their team name alone, at least anyway. So All-Con though are going to have their backs against the wall here, and it's going to be an interesting game. But let us know who you think is going to walk away with this one. Visions, I think the smart money would be on All-Con, wouldn't it?
I think so. That was a bet, man.
Yeah, specifically after what we've seen in our quarterfinals, it'd be rude not to go with them, wouldn't it?
It's so tough. I mean, like, just with the way that they were playing, it's not like they were just playing the map really well and, playing, really good macro. Like their micro is really good. Like, their mechanics, man. Like, the way that they're gunning, like, everything. I mean, we even saw like a couple of like lasers, from across the map and things like this. So it was great. And well, you can see it clearly by the poll results as well, Ton, that there's also a lot of favorites here for this All-Con roster too. But hey, there's some people voting for this other squad, for the underdogs, to see if they can maybe pull off the upset.
Yeah, maybe we've got the Portuguese fans in the chat, and if you guys are here, then let us know how you think your team is going to do in this one. Of course, with it being a semi-final, we are going to go through the same maps that we just seen in the previous one, so it will be Checkmate and then Express Miami if we do need it. I'm going to kind of side with the vote here as well, though. I don't think we will. I think this is going to be an All-Con 2-0, just based off how dominant they have been in these PS tournaments. As I said, I mean, they're going to run out of things to spend COD points on at this point. They have been looking absolutely fantastic, and of course the cash alongside it is not bad either. Maybe, I mean, what would you get with the cash for that? If that much money, have they been upgrading their routers? They've been saying All-Con. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's where their power lies. We know online Call of Duty, it's important. It has to be said.
Yeah, that's got to be it. We're narrowing down and figuring out the specifics here of this squad. But man,
yeah,
there's they got to have a lot for sure, though. I mean, they've won what, 2 tournaments here, so they're starting to build it up. They might have a a little savings going on in their PS store overall here, so I'm sure they're feeling great and they want to add more to it. Why wouldn't you? Let's get that balance up. So if they can stay on par and keep doing what they've been doing, then they very well might find themselves with some more in that balance.
Yeah, I was curious to see if there is anything else for them to actually get a hold of here. But well, I tell you what, they are getting into games quickly, so both these teams have my nod of approval at least anyway. But here we go. Into checkmate for Rolcon. Of course, we managed to see this in the previous series. It was dominant isn't even the word I would like to use. It was a complete whitewash, if anything, and they'll be looking to do the same thing here up against Relax. There's no basket here. Rolcon heading into this one as the heavy favorites. Can they get it done?
Well, they do have the CDL skins on, so that's at least a 10% buff here. We'll see if that ends up playing out against them. But we did see a lot of First Bloods come through, and well, as we segue right into it, guess what? First Blood comes through, and that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. I need a nerf. Let's show us that you do need a nerf. Let's see if you can get the gunny up here, but he's just going to try and play his life. He does get information on the second, so he has a chance to reposition, and there's still plenty of time to play with.
Looking to find this first pick. He is heading towards the back right here. Clara's going to have to back on down. Good shots coming through, though, with the 7-4U. And now 1v1. Disper's positioning himself so he can maybe get the angle here, and yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. Can he see the top of his head whilst he is planting? No, he could not, but I need a nerf could. I think he set himself up there. So he could see across that angle. Disp surely loses the gunfight, but the Krieg is undefeated. Oh my goodness me, 1-0 now. Olcon starting things off hot.
Oh, wow, I mean, Disp just smited that man down. Like, there was no chance. I thought with the 74U up close, a challenge like this would have certainly seen a 1v2 potentially come out in the first round, but not going to happen. Look at this, just unbelievable. Shredded, nuked. Throw another adjective in there. It doesn't matter. It's just incredible for as far as what they're doing. And Disp now finds himself around that might not have went their way, and in fact does. So they'll get themselves the first defensive round.
Let's see if they can equal that with another attacking round to their name here. And well, they aren't going to go through as cleanly as they did in the quarterfinals, and has to be said at least, because one of them's died. Looks like an air hit going to come on through. Information looking to be found. Guiding the nerf, maybe sending that stun over to try and find something. And well, he is going to find a very, very easy kill there. Can he find the second as well? Not going to come through, but Gunny is there for the trade. One apiece. The defensive rounds coming on through here, Visions.
That was beautiful. That was what I wanted to see. If you're going to take down this Olcon roster, you got to do it together. You can't just rely on individual plays, and you can see it here actually beautifully from Gunny's POV. I need a nerf, wins that first battle, and Gunny's watching right over him. So as soon as that challenge comes through, the team shots are being put in, the trade will follow, and that's exactly how you need to play against this roster here, and that is at least enough to make sure that things will be evened up very early.
Olcon looking to continue their solid defensive record here. Relax, that's no Bosque though, looking like no jokes at all. Clara already in, waiting at this angle on the stairs, and well, he hasn't seen him unfortunately. Make his way onto the bomb. Very aggressive play out of the Portuguese squad. Can they defend now though, Visions?
Oh, little wallbang comes in, and I think some team shots came through the window, and that's going to mean Gunny's also tagged heavily down to 85 HP, and there's the collapse. Really well done. Defense just about all the way through, and that is going to be a round where you wish you might have been able to have it back there, but just the patience on nading it out, coming through in the retake. Very well done for Olcon.
Very, very well done. And you know what? It was a very, very nice grenade that got placed on Gunny's way out. A couple of bullets into one of the players and you're looking good, but let's see how Clara was. Grenade comes through. It wasn't actually Clara who got tagged, and he was the one that checked. Even if Gunny finds one kill, I don't think he finds the second, and well, just well played their lives together. Once again from Olcon. Clara, though, is just... Every single time I see this man, he does impress me. And I wonder what players like this play in the 2v2 search and destroy. Like, I would hate to run into guys like this in a league play.
Right? Shots like this, the movement, I mean, it'd be tough to deal with, man. It can be tough to deal with, and he's definitely putting up a great example of why. And we will also see him try and work through Gunny on the stacks location right here beside him on his left, and that's a pretty nasty heady that you can look to use, I guess, so to speak. And Laura now needs to kind of make a decision, and it looks like he's just getting so aggressive. And I think this map really will come down to who can actually execute on their offensive rounds. And this bomb hanging back, he's been very aggressive, but this one's been much more patient.
Clara looking for the shots, can't find them onto I need an F. Oh, did he spot him there? He's coming over. Well, Disp actually choosing to back out of the plant. He goes for it again. Clara baiting maybe just that little bit, just trying to lure some shots in, and he does, and well, he deals with them. I need an F falls, and now Gunny has a bomb to defuse and 2 players to kill.
A lot of work to do here with the Grig. Need to smoke the first one just like that. And now there's a chance. 30 seconds left here. You can slow things down. I think this has got a great read on him, but it's going to be close for a second. You saw some shots come back. The high ground will hold true, and that will be the first offensive round coming on in here for Alcon.
Very well done. The shots got a little shaky. Not too sure if just... yeah, okay. Maybe a little bit wayward, but nonetheless, he does get the job done, and that's all that matters. Alcon starting to take a bit of a grasp on this first map in this semi-final. Looking for another grand final. I believe it will be their 4th in a row. Top of my head, I think I remember them losing in the first one that I was involved in, but nonetheless, can they continue how good they've looked on checkmate here? It's going to be an A hit coming out of R and B, and what can they get done over towards that site?
Well, I think a difficulty you'll find on offense on this map is being creative and trying to change it up. There's only so much you can do on checkmate, and you're seeing some of the off angles that are being held right now that are just catching the squad off guard. And now it's up to Gunny, who needs to come out with, you know, a big 1v2 here. This is one of those rounds where you look back on and say, all right, this was the reason we're able to stay in this game, and this is just one of those rounds. An offensive round here up against Laura and Disc. Not going to be easy, but let's see if he can try and work in a gunfight. Oh my! Don't know how he wins that, but Gunny gets out with his life, and he resets the 1v1, but they know exactly where he is. He slips across, and he won't go down, and gets the bomb here, Ton. There's a strong chance for this 1v2.
Huge chance. Is Disc going to be able to find it? No, he isn't, and there you go. Relax does know Bosque showing they are no joke here. Alcon push back just that little bit. 3-2 now.
I mean, like, what a round here from Gunny. Like, that was not an easy situation to work yourself out of. He didn't even know the player was at the top of the steps when he worked his way to the defensive side there to flank, and somehow just wins that battle, snaps up top. Like, that is such a hard gunfight. Like, that can not be understated. And the fact that he wins that, gets out with his life, and brings home the second off the back end of a read is incredible. That is the round you needed, and that's what you need to do against this Alcon roster in order to win.
Alcon now looking for the break that could then potentially find. R&B set up, well, decently. Has to be said, I need nerf quite high up, and looking to find those initial kills. That grenade's going to really put a stop to that plan, though. Has to be said, Clara looking for this kill. Can't quite find it. A seems to be the sights here for Alcon. 4-2 lead would be big for them. Slow around here, Visions.
Mm-hmm. Very much slowing it down for us. But there's the first engagement. I need a nerf will go down. Gunny did it last round. And you ask for it again. He's able to find the first one. And this bomb is not going to be dropped right away. This just going to try and play for that information. He's not going to see Gunny cross, and I'm not sure if you'll expect him to be on the defensive side still.
Oh, did he spot him through the plane? No, he did not. Oh, and now the hang that Gunny is going to spot him for this. Is he going to find the gunfighting? Well, no, he is not, because Gunny does indeed have the Gunny. My goodness me. Bomb being defused. And that is 3-3.
Wow. Gunny I mean, he's living up to his name right now, isn't he, Ton? That is just gross. Like, he is taking some really tough gunfights these last 2 rounds, and it is working out in his favor. This is, I need a nerf who's been, blooded the last 2 rounds. Gunny's just having to go big, and he's not playing off of a ton of information, but he's still making it work off the back end of some excellent reads. And now we're tied up at 3 apiece. I mean, I was looking at that 3-1 scoreline thinking, all right, this might be where Alcon start to take over, but not the case. We are still getting some fight here, and now it's a massive swing round heading into round 7.
Alcon looking to try and lock down the defense here. Stop the bleeding. Gunny sitting at 6-3. I didn't nerf, just hasn't really been able to get things going, but, well, he won't care one bit. His teammate has really kept themselves in this one. And that's the thing with 2v2s. You can have a bad game and you can still well and truly be in the game.
Yeah. You sure can. Just baiting for your teammate even in some of these little exchanges on offense, that can play the difference. And that's what I Need a Nerf is going to try and do. And this is a little bit bold. He does get seen on that cross, but he gets out. Just barely will die around that wall, but the bomb will go down. And Gunny again. Can he do it 3 rounds in a row?
Oh, have they read it? Gunny's going to push up, look for it, and he isn't going to be able to find the kill on the disc, and that will be the defuse coming on through. Alcon do indeed stop the bleeding. And they needed to. That was getting a little bit scary there. They were in a commanding 3-1 position, but now as we heading into round number 8, they're only 4-3 up, so still in the lead, still in control, but not quite as solid as things were looking previously.
It just comes down to, that first engagement. If I Need a Nerf can slip around that wall without being taken down and eliminated, then you have a shot at least being able to make them overextend to you, and you can maybe hope Gunny can watch her over while that happens, but it doesn't happen. And now we'll switch sides here again. Offense has been a little bit more tricky, though, the last couple of times here for the side of Alcon. So we'll see if they maybe try and change anything up drastically. It has been mainly on the back end of just taking some of these initial challenges, and already Lara going to get himself in a pretty strong position, trying to inch all the way up. The bomb's already on A, too.
Alcon backing out of that because the information was probably gained by R&B here. Intense move. So who's going to find the first break? It is going to be Alcon, but it gets traded out immediately. It is going to be Disp going up against I Need a Nerf. Both teams. It's a big round for them.
Yeah. I Need a Nerf. This is his chance to shine.
Yeah, this is a huge moment. Disp looking for that bomb. I Need a Nerf. Well, he seems to know it is around. It surely is. With the defensive side here. Is he expecting him around the corner? Well, he is. Yeah, there you go. Alcon. 5-3 now. Big clutch up coming on through.
Yeah, that was. And that's when you're really calling for your teammate if you're Gunny off the back end of a couple of ice-up performances. You're like hoping this one will come through. And I want to say that there was some kind of a glimpse through the window that might have just seen the gun in the barrel that allowed him to play for that information, because you could see just a couple of checks that came through back-to-back there for Disp. And he does end up reading it in the end. So pulling ahead, Alcon, they've held the lead throughout this entire map, but you can't count out Relaxidos just yet. They have shown some strong rounds here, and this is another one where you need it to come on through, and it's going to be an offense.
Alcon now looking to try and close this one out. Relaxidos, no basket. They're in a bit of a bad spot here. They haven't taken up any real estate. Alcon, well, haven't either. But the problem is now is that they've waited a little bit longer. They will probably have to check corners that a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more difficult to get towards that bomb site. Gunny and I need enough. Yeah, they're pushing forward here, Visions.
Disp on 3 in a row. He's been solid these last couple of rounds, and there's the first blood. I Need a Nerf goes down. The second follows. We don't see it, but we'll get it in the final kill cam. Alcon, it might have been close halfway through, but when it gets time to ice up, find these crucial rounds, they get the job done.
They do get the job done. Clara, fantastically accurate with the AR once again, and Gunny just walks to the gunny of Kalara, and that is going to be the win for them on checkmate. And it's kind of what we expected. In fairness, we really did expect Olcon to be coming through as victors, especially what we've seen on checkmate from them in the quarterfinal. But Exodus Nobusuke in that one did put up a good fight, it has to be said, Visions.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Like, there was a lot of rounds where, Gunny was outplaying them. Like, he was 1v2ing them, a couple of big moments, and reading them. And that's what you have to do in order to beat them. It's just, we weren't getting the same, clutch up rounds, so to speak, out of I need a nerf. And it's not to say that they should be expected, but when you're playing up against a team like Alcon, it is a little bit expected in some of those situations where you just need to do it if you're going to beat them. So, it was very close. It was just the checkmate. So we'll go into the map number 2 and we can see if they can keep it up because, that was still a strong performance.
Yeah, look, they put up some good rounds as well. I think they were unfortunate not to be in a bit of a better position with some of the clutch up plays that we did see. However, nonetheless, we are going to need to see some more of those on Express, and Olcon will be feeling super confident heading into map number 2, looking to finally book themselves that spot in that grand final once again, where they will go up against England, which should be a cracking game when we do get there, of course. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one over here in Europe. But just to remind you guys at home, of course, it isn't just going to end when we do finish these European side of things. Of course, we've got this semi-final, the rest of it at least anyway, grand final. But then we will be moving over towards North America at 10 p.m. BST, which is 2 p.m. PT. There you go. Look, I mean, I'm not going to take any credit for having those time zones written down at all, but nonetheless, we will be back with more Call of Duty action after the European side has ended. And yeah, we'll continue on into the night. Nice little break for us after the grand final. Get some food down my neck at least anyway. So we're excited. There's still plenty more games to go here in the PS Tournaments EU monthly finals, and I'm interested as well because the NA side was super, super close. Last time we seen really high competition. I know yourself wasn't involved, but I mean, I was at every single game, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. It was just so close all the way through. And I wonder if we get something like that again. The North American region is very competitive.
Yeah, it very much is. I mean, like, a lot of those like 2v2 players, grinding in North America, like there is certainly a scene for it. We've seen that kind of happen out of here when we had like the 2v2 gunfights, right? Like those are a lot of the same people that love 2v2 S&D. So I mean, Europe has already been a blast with all those maps here. So as you said, son, I mean, if we're getting competition almost like a level up, so to speak, where everything's a lot closer, I mean, we just don't even. It's going to be absolute banger as we can. Sure.
Well, I'm curious if Express go the same way as well. We seen last time with a lot of aggression coming out, and imagine we are going to see that from Allcon as well. But hey, look, if you're looking at both these two teams, I said think you can get it done against them. Compete.playstation.com is the place you want to be. Get yourself qualified, and you could be yourself here getting casted over for the EU monthly finals. I think it's a nice little prize for them anyway, isn't it, Visions?
Oh, yeah.
If I do say so myself. No, but I think, we were speaking about this before, that a lot of these players, if not any of them, up until the Open Series point, would ever have been casted over, really, would they? So it's a nice little bonus for those guys to be able to go back and watch their gameplay with casters. Whether or not what level you want to say is another thing. But it's one of those things where it's maybe an added bonus for them.
Yeah, I think it certainly is. I mean, when you're talking about, winning money and having a chance to be able to compete and, have a fun time. And on top of it, like you said, you get to go back and, listen to the casters, maybe gassing you up a little bit in some 1v2 situations or, just making some smart plays. Like, it's always fun to go back and watch that, man. So I'm sure they're having a great time. You guys in the chat are also having a great time because, it's just a lot of fun when you're talking about 2v2. It's just a lot of creativity, just a lot that can kind of pop up in the mix here for us. And I'm sure the players, based off of all the competitions they've already played in throughout this year are obviously enjoying it, having a great time here. And this is when you have the best time, when you go up against the top competition here for us, and you go up against a team like Alcon and you have a chance to prove in front of an audience. I mean, that's what it comes down to, man. That's what we
absolutely. Yeah, I think even for me, like I played in a tournament the other day that was broadcasted, and it was just Infinity, it was just Brody, but I had commentating over me, which was super cool.
Yeah,
and I think going back to those sort of things and having a look through it is interesting to see yourself being casted over. Obviously, I'm absolutely not used to it because I used to be on the other side of the mic. But yeah, it's cool to have, and you can go back to see if they've been saying anything stupid about you as well, which is always good.
Yeah, that's
Not
always
that Brody
fun.
did.
Not that Brody did. Yeah, I imagine he had some mixed feelings, some mixed things to say throughout the POV when watching you, right, son? I'm sure it was some good laughs watching that one back.
Yeah. Things I'll remember.
The things you'll remember and you'll bring up when you're then in that position, you get to watch over Brody, right?
He can't play. Let's be honest. There'd be not be. Oh well, like he's dead again. Yeah, yeah. That would have been pretty much my analysis on that. Although I can't really say much. I didn't do that great either. Nonetheless, hopefully we are loading into map number 2 in just a second. Here we will be heading over towards Express Miami as the map that we will see in map number 3 if we do indeed need it. I don't think we're going to need it. If I'm honest, here, Visions. I'm kind of feeling a 2-0 Olcon win here. I'm not too sure about yourself.
I'll be honest, I think it just depends on what we get out of I Need a Nerf. Like, I thought that Gunny was, like, really up there. And I'm not trying to harp on I Need a Nerf, too much here. But it's just you need to be at that level that Gunny is at right now if you're going to take these guys down. I think it's obviously very likely that we see Alcon probably move through with the way that they performed, with the way that they've even found themselves in some of those tight moments in that map 1. They were able to overcome it, and that's what you'd like to see out of a solid team here. So, I mean, I think it just depends on, what we get out of I Need a Nerf. If he shows up here, then maybe there's a shot. At least you can maybe keep map 2 close here. But I mean, you definitely need Gunny doing what he was doing in that first map as well. That is also going to have to be called for.
I think that's one thing that we could potentially point out here is that to get it to some of those later rounds, there had to be clutch situations coming out of R&B. That was the thing. It wasn't necessarily... They won a couple of close rounds here and there, but at the same time, it was clutch situations that were going in their favor that just kept it close. So you could look at it from a glass half empty side of things and sort of say, well, why are you in those situations? You have to kind of find those big clutch moments to stay in the game. Or you could look at it in the fact that you have those moments potentially in your locker. I don't know what your stance is on that. I think that's one thing that we've talked about, in competitive games as well. Would you rather have the clutch factor or not need to have that clutch factor because you don't put yourself in those situations?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because like the clutch factor, like it gets like the momentum going. It gets like, the hype going. So like it's kind of like an interesting way of looking at it. It's like, well, if you're like really good at clutching up, then like you're really good at being able to swing momentum in your favor. But I mean, you bring up a great point where it's like, well, if you just always found first blood and you always had a numbers advantage, then you wouldn't have to ever worry about clutching up. So I personally like to be in the situation where like I have to clutch because I feel like there's like almost no pressure. It's like, listen, if I die, it's the round, we go to the next one. So like I feel like all that pressure is lifted in some of those situations. But for other players, it very, very likely might be the opposite, where it's like, listen, I don't want to have to be in a situation where I'm thinking about what 2 players are doing instead of 1. So I think it comes down to preference overall, when we're kind of talking about it. But yeah, I mean, that's at least my thought process when I go into like comparing the 2 and how they play out.
Yeah, well, hopefully we are going to be loading into map number 2 very, very shortly to see which way things do play out. Hopefully we can jump in a second. But, these 2 teams, it's one of those things where it's... You need to get it done across the board. You need to be consistent in these games. Olcon have been that. Relax does no Bosque. Obviously we are waiting on them, seeing what we can see from them. We didn't get to see them in that quarterfinal. So our first opportunity, and it definitely feels like they do have something. They did have those clutch moments where were necessary, and well, hopefully they can continue them here and make a big series out of this one. But Olcon still very much our favourites heading into this one. Hopefully we'll be heading in just a second as well to see who is going to be going up against England in that grand final. Making good time here this evening, and some of these games have been super quick, but things are... It's just the nature of the beast when you're in these earlier rounds. When it gets to these grand finals, though, it's always a very interesting affair. I mean, these teams have had to come through a 32-team bracket to get to this point.
Yeah, and long journey.
Yeah, it's a long old day, isn't it?
It's a lot of COD being played. I mean,
yeah.
Got to think about it, going from match to match, series to series. It's not easy to go through X amount of teams and while keeping things fresh too, right? Because you don't maybe necessarily want to keep doing the same thing over and over. You want to try and throw in some creativity here and there. So yeah, it can be a long run when you're doing these tournaments. So when you get to these final matches, like this is where you really kind of dig deep in some situations, right? And bring it all out and push through. And I mean, a team like Alcon, I mean, you're going to have to dig deep, right? I think there's no real working around that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a team that everybody will be looking at every single time these monthly finals come up and be saying to themselves, "These are the team that we have to beat." I think in Relaxos no Bosque, I think when they look at that map number one, they'll sort of say to themselves, "Right, okay, yeah, we have a chance here." I feel like they do have a chance, but nonetheless, Orcon definitely feeling like the favourites when we do head in towards Express. And I'm curious to see what kind of game they are going to play on Express. Obviously, we've seen a lot of aggression coming out in that previous series and the other semi-final. I wonder if we're maybe going to see that from these two teams. We did see an aggressive approach on Checkmate, and I'm curious if you think it's going to go the same way here on Express.
I think it's going to be a little bit similar in the sense where I think it's going to be a lot of like that tempo and pacing that's probably going to favor Alcon just because of the way that they play. And, they have like one really kind of hard anchor player, so to speak, with the AR that's sitting back watching over. And then, both players rather can find moments where they can kind of slip through and look to get aggressive. And I think they're really good at finding those timings. So, I think Alcon's going to be able to put up a similar performance. Express just comes down to a lot of long range gunfights or getting up close and personal. And it seems so far like Alcon is pretty specialized in both of those situations. So as long as they're not getting blooded, they should find themselves in a very similar spot is kind of what I'm imagining here coming into the Express.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would make sense, wouldn't it? I think we're going to see Clara mix it up here and there on the side of Alcon. We're going to see probably mostly Craig's, though, from his side of things, looking to find those picks and then just opening up doors for Disp to try and get up aggressive. And yeah, look, I think 2v2 is very much about the adaptation that those players on the fly, isn't it? It's about making those. It's about mixing up, being unpredictable. And I suppose, we could see two SMGs coming out. We could see two ARs. There's multiple different ways you can set up on Express. And it's just about reading what the opposition are going to do. And, well, hopefully we are going to find out what both these teams are going to do in just a moment when we load in to Express. I'm going to go final predictions. I'm going to say 6-2 to Alcon, actually. I'm
6-2, eh?
Yeah. I'm feeling a little bit dominant. Well, not dominant, but I'm feeling comfortable for them.
That's fair. I'm looking at maybe like a 6-4. I think they're going to keep it a little bit closer. I think they're going to have some big rounds here. I have a really good feeling that both players are going to step up throughout this series here. It's not just going to be, Gunny finding these 1v2s. I think I Need a Nerf is going to come up and show up here for us. It's going to keep this one close. It's going to give us a good set.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get that. Hopefully we can. But if you are looking at this and wanting to get involved with your duo, maybe you're looking at us too and think, I've got a duo like that as well, but we play Call of Duty instead of talk over it. You feel as if you can compete in Search and Destroy, get yourself signed up at compete.playstation.com, and you could be involved every single month. We have prizes on the line. Get yourself along to compete.playstation.com. It is completely free to enter and get yourself involved. It's fun to see, and it's not just Call of Duty. As said, we have plenty of other games. We'll go through those later on as well. Plenty of other finals coming up within the next few weeks, and excited to see how things do break down there. It's always an interesting time just to see the grassroots, if you like, of esports and some of these players coming up. Vision, I'm sure for you, especially when we go over towards the North American side, you'll be keeping your beady little eyes on a couple of these players, won't you?
Yeah, man. Like, this is where a lot of the CDL teams, are scouting, so to speak. They're looking for players, and if you can show up and you can start to grind your way through S&D, like man, anything can happen. Anything can happen here for us, Don. But hey, listen, that's enough about the vamping. We got ourselves game number 2. This will be a good one. Game number 1 was close for anyone that didn't tune in, 6-3 on Checkmate. So we'll see how this one plays out, and it's going to have to be, a really big bounce back here for our squad. Gunny and I Need a Nerf. Let's see what they can do.
Initially off the break, Alcon always going for that peak, and look how aggressive they go on the defensive side of things. Clara's already here with the 7-4U. He will get traded. Gunny is there. Now 1v1. And this one does not take long to get going, does it? My goodness me, look at that route from Clara. So all the way through mid, then wrapped around the attacking side of tickets, if you like, and all of a sudden we've got a 1v1.
Gunny's really thinking about where he's going to be located. I do like this play from Disp. They might have some kind of a call that the bomb was down, so that means that Disp is probably just going to sit in the elevator, and he's going to wait here for Gunny to make a move, and it is going to be an AK-74U, so he's going to have to be very wary about what he wants to do. A long look there, expecting maybe a challenge to come to the ticket booth. Not going to happen, and now we're down to 30 seconds.
this finder coming through. Disc has the angle on him. Has he seen him? I think he has now. Gunny trying to get away over towards A, but Disp is giving his position away. Gunny will be able to get that bomb down. Disp is going to have to check his corners. Oh, which way is this going to go? You've got to give advantage to Gunny, though, as that bomb does go down. SMG in hand as well. Just stay close up, and Personal has to be careful not to get caught out at these long angles. He spotted him! Oh my god, and the shots into the body as well. Yeah, he's letting him know about that one. Disp with the XM4, that's hard to bear if you're Gunny.
That's a tough one. I mean, just snapped on his head. We might see it again. And that was just a really nice rotation, right? Like, Gunny realizes he's got the timing to make it to the other bomb site. He gets the bomb down in time, and he's playing it well, but he's going for the bomb check, and that's when Disp punishes him. As soon as he comes up, just look at the snap. The XM4, it hits like a transport truck, and Gunny will feel the wrath of it there.
XM4 doing some very, very good work. And I think as well, for Allcon, that's a big round. We often talk about momentum being a huge thing, and well, they win that map number 1. They win round number 1 in a 1v1 fashion, just like that. Gunny pushing forward, though. Getting very, very aggressive. Clarenco waiting, though, but I need enough. We'll find that first gunfight. Now it's up to Disc and what he do. He's in a good position to do something here, though. Finds the first one. I need a nerf in the same spot. He does spot him. Disc, we're going to have to back him down, but does have a hold of the bomb. 1v1.
Look at the confidence. Disc immediately just looks for that secondary challenge, and he's even going to go searching further for it. I need a nerf is just posted up in a corner, just waiting patiently. And it looks like Disp is going to play for maybe a rotation. He's going to walk all the way back to B. This is going to be at least recognize the red here, though, for the side of I need a nerf. You might have heard a hop up coming all the way down. And now it's going to be the bomb down, but the timing could be great. We'll see if I need a nerf can just come up to the site, find an easy kill in the back. There it is. You always get worried as Disp gets that weapon up there, but I need a nerf. He brings it home. That's a couple of big kills in this round to even us up at 1.
Oh, the body shot's coming back through on the other side of things as well. This one's getting a little spicy. 1 apiece. Yeah, I think you're right. It does get a little bit scary when you can't see Disp. Eventually, he does get that, that gunny up, so to speak, but I need a nerf just there. That second earlier than he wouldn't necessarily need it to be. I think he wins that one fairly convincingly, but there you go. 1 apiece now, and I think something to potentially take into consideration here, of course, 1 team from the UK, 1 team from Portugal. Maybe, you know, host can come into it.
Oh,
something
sure.
we can talk about. I believe this is our R&B's host, so it's their opportunity to get back into this grand finals on their side of things.
And I need a nerf. I mean, finding those 2 kills and winning that big clutch is going to be exactly what you want here. And I mean, that's kind of what I talked about coming into this matchup. We've seen it from Gunny. We need to see it from I need a nerf, and he delivers. But can you take the lead over this Allcon roster? I don't think they've done it throughout the first couple of maps just yet. Might be a chance to do it here. The bomb goes down. Ara waiting. Will be able to find the tag. Can't bring home the elimination just yet. He's waiting for the exit, but hasn't been able to spot him. There's the collapse, and now it's up to Gunny to try and see if he can clutch a 1v2.
Oh, the bullets were in, but couldn't quite find the kill, and now he's going to be forced out. This 1v2 will be something special. This behind the site. He's going to give his position away, though. Surely he just gets traded out. He does. In that scenario, maybe he just needed to be a little bit more coy with his positioning and with his gunshots, but eventually he'll get found out, and that is now 2-1 to Allcon.
I agree with you, Ton. I mean, I think if he did try to maybe just like run into the smoke and be a little more chaotic in that situation, I mean, like anything can happen. You can see it, the shots come through, and this doesn't have a clear angle on him. So, I mean, like that's not an easy gunfight, so to speak, up close like that. And because his teammate wrapped all the way from behind, like there was a chance he maybe even slip out through that smoke and reset the 1v1 with even health. So a good attempt, just was not able to capitalize. And that still means that Allcon, well, they hold true to their lead as they have not dropped it. It's only gotten to about a tie here throughout the first couple of maps. And now you want to try and keep this a tie if you're Relaxados heading in towards this big defensive round.
Says a big round, just even in the grand scheme of things. 2-2 or 3-1. Talked about it a lot already. These big swing rounds in. Well, big swing in the map's coming in from Clara. He can't quite win the gunfight. Gunny gets it done. Oh, and he gets across with the timing as well. You're gonna see him up top in for, and that's just hard to bear. This push round should be dead momentarily. Is, and Relaxidus. No Bosque. 2-2 now.
I'm loving that. I'm loving the double SMG setup. Like it feels like this is almost the setup you want to run against a team, you know, like this. Alcon very much up in your face. You can see it. That push comes through the tracks, and Gunny just barely snaps onto the head there to put in a little additional damage throughout that gunfight, and that's enough to be able to pull ahead. So 2-2 we go. It's just a matter of, can they actually find a lead? I mean, that is the struggle so far here. If you can go up 3-2 and start to build off this, there is a chance, and it looks like they're going to hold true to their B setup, immediately rush on through, but Clara, he's going to see it. He's going to be able to at least spot one.
Smokes out. Creates a little bit of panic in both camps. If anything, Gunny not going to be able to be taken down by Clara. He's going to turn it around as well, expecting the re-challenge to come on through. Oh, Disp, though, is ready and waiting on this rotation. Is he going to be able to find any, though? It's an awkward one. They're going to run into each other in the middle map, though, and Clara's going to go down immediately. Disp, though, what's the play here? Well, it's to die, and Relax does no Bosque. Find the round. 3-2 now. Strange one at that as well, Visions.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird rotation. I mean, you're looking at that, and everyone was kind of caught at the bottom of the B site, and slowly but surely there was just like a timing that allowed them to work through the terminal, get into the back, and come up the red hall, and they're just not expecting both players to probably be there, and it was both players pumping in team shots here to Alcon on both engagements. So that's what you need, man. You need this teamwork to really allow to kind of drive you against this team so that you can come out with these trades, come out with some kind of a kill, and it can be so difficult to take it on one-on-one, but they've started to make some of those changes, and it's been working out for the better. But that stun is going to give a lot of information. That's likely going to mean an immediate bomb down.
Good position for Alcon to try and stop this bleeding once again. They lost a couple of rounds in a row in the previous map, and, well, let's come through. Of course, in this map number 2, can they lock down this bomb site? Oh, Gunny is going to get caught in the middle of the map. No, not expecting Clara on top of the trains when the bomb is down. Oh, towards B. Very, very nicely done. 3-3 now.
3-3. Didn't get to see it fully, but, I mean, the bomb, it was planted for the clutch spot at the top of the plane. So even if this ends up dying down here, it's probably still a very difficult round to come out on top of, just because of the clutch spot that can be so easy to bounce up and down on when you get to the top of that train. You can see right through the ticket booth. But not going to matter in the end. They find both kills, and 3-3 we go. Halfway through this search and destroy. A tight one at that, just like the very first map. But this is where you can't allow Alcon to get away from you, and you start, you know, packing on round after round here in a row. But it does appear like they're going to go back to this 8th site. The subs have been very relentless finding some of these kills here, and I need a nerf. He's been leading a lot of the charge here for them.
Gunny really has been that man who's been about the trade, hasn't he? See if he can put himself in a position to help his teammate out here. Alcon, no. Well positioned. Well, this defensive round. Oh my goodness me. Oh, that's one Gunny probably has to be winning. Clara didn't have a clue. I need an F now. In the 1v2. Surely going to be an Alcon round, hasn't it?
Feels like they know where he is, too. I mean, they've been playing pretty tight these last couple of rounds here. I need a nerf. He needs to snap up. He does get the information. He still has his life, so there's a shot. Comes out to the middle of the train, though. Alcon's waiting patiently, and they're going to find themselves back-to-back rounds, starting to tighten up here at the end of this Express S&D. Finding these first bloods, just really isolating the remaining members here, not making it easy. But we go back to this. Yeah, just absolute just smoke show, man. Like, that was just incredible. It just finds the head, snaps on him, takes it home, and Alcon find themselves in a pretty favorable situation.
Yep, looking better now. That's a couple of rounds in a row. 3, 2 more rounds away to find themselves in that grand final spot. I need an F now. In and around B, it's a heavy B stack. Just waiting for the push, not going to come on through. Gunny getting aggressive. Checking that A bomb site. Is he going to get caught here? But no, well, Disp is. Shot's going to go through, but information gained for both teams.
I mean, they're pushed back to like the very back of their spawn here. I mean, it can be really hard to work your way out. They're not exactly being punished or pinned in, but Gunny gets good info there. That's still going to let you know. One is in the back, but big gunfight about to take place. Right now for 4 in a row. We will get a trade. I need a nerf. A chance to be able to go big for a squad. This could even us up at 4-4.
It's a big round. Disp looking for the angle. Does have the bomb though, so can choose to go for the plan, but he's going to choose to wrap it around over towards it. I think that's the direction that I need a nerf is heading in, but he's not going to be there in time. This bomb will go down. Just backing on down, getting himself in a good position here. Where's I need a nerf expecting him to go to? Did he spot him? That's the question. Disp still with the advantage here. Trophy system down as well, but I need a nerf gets onto the bomb side. This is going to make things interesting. Don't going to go out. Which way is this gunfight going to go? Surely it's going to go over towards no Bosque, but it's going to be Olicon. The pistol comes out from Disp. That's 5-3.
Oh, Relaxados, they really needed that round, and it just comes in such interesting fashion where there's a chance to be able to either hop on the bomb, take the gunfight, and it just feels like there's just that push that comes through, and jumping over them was not enough to be able to line up the centering. And, well, this is a very similar story again to the map 1 where it's tied 3-3, and then about halfway through, that's when we start to see this Alcon roster just start to turn up. They get fired up. They start collecting round after round here, and now Gunny and I need a nerf. Tournament life on the line. They got to come away with 3 in a row.
Oh, Disp going to take the first shots. He's going to manage to get away, though. And Gunny needs to try and find something, but Clara is ready and waiting with the Krieg. I need an F there with the trade, though. 1v1. Clara will back down, and this bomb may well go down.
I love this. Get the bomb down, but Clara has a chance, but he gives up the angle, and he doesn't see where he exits from here. So this is going to be an interesting round. He has the opportunity just to hop on it if he wants, but he has no idea which way he went.
No clue. Clara's just going to jump it. Oh, the early diffuse, it quite often does come through, and it quite often works as well. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is. And Alcon will get it done in 2, but not without their difficulties, it has to be said. They do beat this Portuguese side and will advance on to another grand finals, and Clara opening it up again. The man with the first bloods time and time again. Fantastic performance from them. Alcon will advance through to that grand finals that, with all due respect, we did expect them to, Vision.
We did expect it, but listen, that was still a couple of solid maps that came through there for Relaxados. I mean, 6-3 on both maps. You're able to get 3 rounds off of them, a lot of them in clutch fashion, and it was kind of just the mismatch there for me, Ton, where the first map we got Gunny, and then we didn't exactly have his teammate, and then we go in towards the second game, and it's I need a nerf that ends up going big, and Gunny just unable to find that rhythm, if you will. So it's going to cost them in the end, but they're going to have to settle for that 3rd place match, and at least they know that they can go toe-to-toe with them. Just when we get halfway through, something different happens. It's Alcon roster. They just turn up. Yeah,
it's a difficult one. We'll get the bracket up and ready to show the route through for both these 2 grand finalists in just a second, but Alcon, for me, they played that well as well. It was a fairly standard game for them. Let's have a look at that bracket now then as we see their route through and who they will be facing. It will be up against England in the grand finals. Another best out of 3. A guaranteed Miami thrown into the mix as well. It's going to be a spicy one, Visions. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fun one. I mean, like, Alcon, they've been solid. I think they're looking, on the best form so far out of all the teams we've seen on the day. But England, they put up a crazy comeback, and I mean, you cannot sleep on Taser right now. They had a 6-0 on Express. They had an immaculate comeback when they were down 4-5 on the checkmate, so you can't sleep on these guys. I mean, they can absolutely do a lot of what we just got there in their semifinal.
Well, if you want to get involved in, you're looking at these grand finalists and thinking, we can deal with these a lot, no problem. Compete.playstation.com is the place for you to get involved, of course. At free tournaments every single month, you get to the grand finals, you get casted over. If you get to the top 8, you may well have have a very good chance at getting into that heavy end of the prize pool. Plenty of PlayStation gift cards and, of course, cash money on the line as well. That's what you'd love to see. But yeah, it's interesting to see if anybody is out there that can beat the likes of Olcon outside of like the pros, etc. 2v2 is very much one of those things that if you can nail it down and get the foundations ready and going, Visions, it puts you in a fantastic spot to do well in tournaments just like this.
Oh, does it ever? And I mean, like that chemistry, like it's showing. They can pull out multiple different weapons here, play a couple of different play styles. Like that's also what you need when you're talking about 2v2s. And yeah, if you're out there looking to take these guys down, I mean, take notes, watch how they're playing, watch how they play off of each other when they create numbers advantages. You can see them just slowly collapse on the map, isolate that last member, make it very difficult for them to do anything here. So yeah, they're the team to beat. We'll see if England can do it though for us, Don.
Yeah, we will see in about 5 minutes' time. We're going to go for a very, very short break, but after it, we have the grand finals. It's going to be Olcon taking on England. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you after this. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the PS Tournaments Open Series monthly finals. Here we are in Europe and we are into the grand finals. My name is Ton, joined by Visions, and very excited to get into this one with you, my man. It's going to be Alcon taking on England, and it's going to be an interesting game, I think. Both these two teams looking good throughout the tournament that we've seen them so far.
They have looked exceptional, and I mean, we just saw what Alcon did. They've come out with a couple of massive map wins. It feels like you get halfway through, and that's when they start hitting that second when they start taking over. But hey, this England squad for us, Ton, they're the real deal, and you got to watch out for Taser because he is lights out. Somehow finds ways to ice up rounds he shouldn't.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think both teams have really decent clutch factors, don't they? They always seem to find rounds that maybe aren't necessarily ones that look like are going to go their way, and it's going to be a very, very interesting game. For this one, we do actually mix it up in terms of the maps here as well. When it does come up towards the grand final, I'm just getting them caught up to try and make sure I have got them correct. We are going to see Express first. We've seen Express in nearly every single series so far. Miami would be second, and then Moscow third as well. So that does make things interesting. Right. We are going to see Express, of course, but we're at least going to see Miami and potentially Moscow as well.
I think the Express is specifically interesting because we just saw a 6-0 that came through for England on that map, right? Like they went to a round 11, like the map 1, we get to map 2, and they carried all that momentum and went through with it. So I think that's what's going to make this one really spicy because they just got to watch Alcon play it out.
Yeah, they did. And look, it was both teams looking pretty decent on this one as well. Alcon not quite as clean. But let's have a look at the bracket so far, which is going to look very clean for both ththese two teams. England 2-0, 2-0. Alcon 2-0, 2-0. Both teams undefeated in maps when it does come to these quarterfinals. Not too sure how things were before this, of course, but I'd imagine it looked pretty much the same based on what we've seen from those two teams. Looked so impressive so far.
Have been very, very close. I mean, I think it's actually harder to come in here and make a prediction because it's all pending on what England's going to give us. I think in this map number 1, if they can come away with a map win or play the map the way that they did previously, then there's a really strong chance of being able to take down Alcon. And if you can put Alcon in a situation where they're down 0-1 in a grand final best of 3, like maybe that's when you start to find that spot where you can actually break them down a little bit, start to take some rounds off, and let that pressure kind of seep in.
Well, if you haven't seen any of these games so far, let's remind you of how these teams are looking, their records, who they are, where they live. We have everything, to be honest with you, involved yet in the team cards. Let's have a look and see how these teams are going to break down. Let's firstly go over towards England from the UK, of course, as well. And look, they have the streams in there as well, so if you want to drop a follow to either one of these players as well. Rick Steen, obviously, being Petr Cech in this one. 11 wins, 2 losses in the qualification side of things here. Taser, though, really was the player to watch out for in that previous series. Visions, you highlighted him. He looked very, very solid. But let's have a look at Alcon. And it's going to be Clara and Brett. Let's see what they can do here. They've looked so good all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, they really have. Like, both have just had, again, their own individual moments that have played that factor, and you can see it. I mean, 11-2 throughout these 13 games here. So, I mean, they've been very consistent. And, I mean, Clara, I think, in specific, even deserves his own shout-out because he was just beaming on the Craig, and he was also showing us he can do it with the 74U as well. And I think when you're a 2v2 player and you can have the best ability of being able to do both, like, that puts you in a really good position a lot of the times here. So I think that's a similar situation they find themselves in, and it really will be about, are they going to be able to match some of that Craig power, or will they just stick to, their 74Us and kind of keep it close quarters?
Yeah, that's the question. That's one thing with both teams being able to watch each other. How are things going to run in this grand final? Well, if you guys at home, who are you voting for? Which way do you think this game's going to go? Whilst we wait on the results of that coming on through, I'm going to go with our predictions here. I'm going to go Alcon because I think, they've done it time and time again. I expect them to go on to do it once more, at least. England look good, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough to beat Alcon, who have looked fairly unstoppable and unflappable, if anything, as well.
You see, Ton, I thought you were going to be rooting for your own team, like right there.
They're both from England.
Like, I guess, but like they got their name in there. So I feel like that kind of, you know what I mean? Like, edges them out a little bit more. Like, for sure that they're big England fans, clearly. So we'll see if they can do it either way. I think coming into this one, I'm going to go with England. And I think they're going to go, I think they're going to take it in game 3. We're gonna go the distance in this one, ton. I think they have what it takes. From what I've seen, they're really good at playing in some of these situations. I think when we've gotten into the first match, I was like, listen, if you're gonna take these guys down, you have to be able to work together. I think the squad is really good at doing that, and that'll probably be one of the big keys that allows us to go into a map 3 if they are able to replicate that in the grand final.
Yeah, and if we do head over towards a map 3, it will be Moscow, which is a really, really fun one for 2v2 S&D. But, well, that's if we do get there. We may well see a 2-0, but one thing we are having for certain in nearly every single game this evening is a game of Express, and no complaints on my end. I think it's been a really fun one for 2v2, and we're delving into it once again. Records for both these two teams, though, on this map specifically over this evening, at least anyway. Both teams winning it. And it was very, very convincing for the side of England. A 6-0 for them. Alcon, a little bit of a harder route through. Who would you rather be, though? Would you rather have had a bit of a test on this, or would you rather have walked through with and get the confidence from a 6-0?
I mean, I think a confidence booster with a 6-0 would maybe be enough to take the whole thing. So I'm sure both teams would like that if they can get it. But we'll see the push early, and it's going to be waited for beautifully. But there's the follow-up. Disp is there for the trade. And that's going to put us into a 1v1. It is Taser. We already talked about this kid. He's been lights out today. We'll see if he can be lights out here in the first round.
Disp having a look. Do we get a hold of that bomb? Which way is this one going to go? It's a tense one. Staying alive as best as he can. Taser gunny up, ready for the fight. Big 1v1 to kick things off here. Gonna go for the bomb. Having a look now to get a hold of it. Disp, knowing where that bomb is, ready and waiting. And he's gonna move away, but Taser will get away with it. Disp's choosing to make the move, and we'll just hold A and maybe create a different angle here. What's Taser gonna do though? Difficult one. Information gained. Tazar's going to make his way over towards B.
Should get there. It's going to be close. Oh, I think he got it, but it's so close. And because of the timing on it, the rotation is made. That was just a really nice read coming in the end there. Have to make a last second rotation. Tries to make it happen. It just barely gets to the bomb, but not enough time to drop it.
Well read by Disp. Very, very well read. Away with it, and well, we'll take the first round.
Now into round 2, we'll see if they're going to be able to kind of keep this going here. Like, a big part of what we've seen from this Alcon roster is when they start to collect rounds in a row, that's when things start to get a little bit terrifying. So you cannot let that happen. And well, right away, looks like they maybe want to go for an early bomb plan. I like this. Disp is just going to be sitting on the back here, trying to see if he can work something from the sign. Meanwhile, Taser, he's going to get some excellent help here from his teammate. Petterchek's able to find that first blood, and now Disp is going to be taken down as well. Fast response as England will bounce right back.
Nicely done from England. Hold their angles. Just find the good fights to kick things off. Taser here finding Disp to close it out. Well played. Good quick shots coming on through. One apiece now, and well, I think, you know, for England, they haven't folded under the fact that they eventually lost a round on Express, of course.
That is true. And now for what will be offense. I think this is going to be some of the trickier things, because Alcon were pretty solid in a lot of their defensive rounds. I mean, he literally just got off of that last map, so we'll see if that continues to hold strong for them. Will be the same position. Petterchek not going to change up a whole lot, except this time they're going to throw some tacticals in. It looks like they're just going to make an immediate rotation across the map, so they're going to just try and hang out in the back of their spawn, maybe catch one of the players off guard. But while that happens, you can see it. Everyone's going to start to inch up closer and closer here for Alcon, try to take a little bit more of the map away.
Alcon hanging out over towards A. Not much going on over there, though. So they're moving over towards B, and Clara will catch the bomb planter. Petterchek goes down. Taser also going to fall. Alcon finding around with a very, very quick retake.
And that was just the last second rotation that kind of took place there, where they play in their spawn. They're hoping to catch them off guard, but as soon as they throw those tacticals, that's when we saw Alcon move in, start to look over the A site, realize they're not there, and make the assumption that I guess they've moved over to B. So still holding strong. We'll hold the lead 2-1. Nice little start here from, I believe it's Disp, who's put up a pretty nice stat line into this one here for us. And now it's back on the attack. It looks like it might be back over to A. I want to say that this would be more favorable for England if they got some more subs out. But it looks like there is a lot more ARs coming out here for us in round 4.
Clara and Co just waiting for the push over towards A. Doesn't come through, and England, the heavy setup over towards B. Trying to find some information, maybe just trying to bait with the grenade. They now make their way around to retreat over towards A and try and get some sort of control. Clara having a good look around here. See if any of these players are lingering around B. Just going to try and get himself in a good position to try and lock things down here. Staying alive as best as he can. As that bomb does go down from Disp. Clara is going to fall though. The 1v2 with the bomb down here, Visions.
Disp 3-1. Can he do it again? First challenge about to come. Pettercheck just waiting to hold that Semtex. The challenge comes through. The nade doesn't find him. Taser needs to get there. He flips around the wall. The pre-fire is there, but it's not enough. And Taser, a little bit of a close one, is able to find the 1v1 to make sure there is no clutch ups happening in round 4. And now 2-2 is where we're going to be.
Very, very close game here on Express. I wouldn't be surprised if this one does indeed go all the way. Well played England though. With the retake, and it's just this first one. Find the shots into Clara. And then the rotation round, and they find the 2v1. Close between these two. Clara hasn't quite been able to find those initial kills that have been looking so good for the side of Olcon all night long, but nonetheless, his team's still in this game.
Right down low. Big gunfights. Oh, it's a tough one. I don't know how I was able to win out on that, but it's still going to be info into the 1v1 as the trade comes back. Disp is going to auto-mantle. Don't think that was meant to happen. Taser will try to push up and finds the win. Just no hesitation. Runs at him. Takes the challenge and brings home the round. Massive one here for England.
That's a big one. There's that. Oh, I mean, the snap on, considering the movement that player has pushed out, and of course with Pika's advantage, that's just one of those ones that Taser probably shouldn't be winning, but does. Very, very well played. 3-2 to England now.
Three in a row for Taser as well. And I mean, with the sub, with the Krig, I've been gassing this man all day, but he's got more coming in the tank because he's been able to do it with both weapons and so precise. But that's going to be info there right off the bat. Clara's going to spot one. That might give the green light for Disp to start moving in. And you can see it. Clara's going to start clearing out some of the space. He's about to meet one, though. Pettercheck loves his corners, and this one's not going to work out for him in his favor. But Taser left all alone, and now they know where he is, and he doesn't find the trade.
Yeah, Clara can run from behind as well as try and find the pick. Should be able to ascertain where they are, one way or another. Bomb going to go down, though. Taser now in the 1v2. He's going to run right into the middle of it here as well, and gets a little bit of an unfortunate timing. Olcon tying things up 3-3.
It's a heartbreaker. I thought for a moment they might have even lined up for him right there on screen to come away with a double or a collat. Not going to happen. Clara holds strong close here. He's been actually pretty nasty with some of these jump shots up close. Almost looks like he's jumping over his opponent when he's lasering down. Good shots, good movement, good mechanics, and it's going to get us all tied up at 3-3. But this is usually that breaking point, son. This is where Olcon will start to take over combined rounds here, and you just feel like this is such a massive one for England if they can get it.
Get yourself back into that lead. That's where they want to be. Olcon setting up a B, but it's going to be an A push coming out from England. Olcon aware of that now. Bomb going down, grenade coming in, not doing enough damage, but look at the collapse coming on through. Disp's looking for the shots, isn't able to find it, going to make himself a bit on his way up into info. This is such a bad spot. for England to be in here, but they're staying alive. Still a 2v2. Shots going to be going in over towards Train. The fights continue. Clara can't find the shots, but Petr does. Disp now in the 1v2. There's no way he can jump this. Surely this is now going to be the 2v1 for England. It is. 4-3.
That's the breaking point you needed. You just needed to overcome that, because we saw it the last series. Both times, Alcon, map 1, map 2, it's kind of 3-3. They found 3 rounds in a row. Not this time. And that is just, honestly, crucial here for them, as they might be able to start taking control. England now up by a round. Let's see if they can build themselves a bit of cushion. It will be a defensive round. Taste is going to go back to this Krig. It's been pretty solid for him in a lot of these defensive rounds here, where he's just been posting up, getting in a power position. It's been very difficult to deal with here, but look at the aggression. Here we go, right into this now, round number 8. Dip trying to get involved as he's got the bomb.
Aggressive fight coming in. It's going to be Petr to find the kills onto Clara, and England all of a sudden find the round and find themselves with a 2-round cushion. 5-3 now.
5-3 England. I mean, they're putting the pedal to the metal. Like, they're not slowing down. I love this. I was really expecting them to almost just sit back in this round, just maybe trying to play a little bit more passive, but not the case whatsoever. They just absolutely run it and gun it, win the battles. They shut down that B hit, and they have a chance to get it all done and dusted right here. Win 6-3 in the map number 1 on Express. Just what that would do here against this Alcon roster that has been looking like the best team on the day, but England clearly showing us that there's another one here that can absolutely take this grand finals.
Shots coming in, big fight going on over towards England. They've got a couple of rounds of a cushion, if you like. Mistakes to happen. Oh, shots coming in.
Laser.
Great shots from Clara. You're very right. Absolute laser with this M4U.
And you have to know that Petr usually plays a little bit more passive, and Taser's the aggressive one. He'll look for some of the more opening challenges, and Petr usually just kind of post it up here. We'll see if he can get the bomb down. I think it is, because he's got a pretty clear idea on where he is. The nade is going to tag him up, but the nade responds, and could this be a 1v2 clutch up? Clara's low, but he the beatdown is there! What a 1v2! Petr gets it done for us, Ton, and that's map 1 to England.
Oh my goodness me. Look at this. It's the grenade that then just gets followed up. It's just a couple of shots and a snap from there gets Clara weak. Clara thinks I've got him. Nope.
Breaks his nose.
Oh my word. What a fantastic round. It just sort of burst into life at the very end there. Both teams really going toe-to-toe, but what a fantastic performance out of England. They maybe upset the odds just that little bit heading into map number 2. Well, headed over to Miami with it having to be a reverse sweep, if you like, coming out from Olcom. What a final round to win it, though. They were in pretty much the driving spot up until, well, when we got to those latter rounds, I should say. But to win it like that, it's going to be a major, major momentum swing over towards England. They'll be feeling good heading into map number 2. Massive moment there.
Oh, it's just gonna do wonders for them. Like those are the moments where I talk about, like, where you clutch up and like you have now just all this momentum. You're fired up. You're feeling great. You just took down, you know, a team that's won this in the past twice now, and this is just going to do so much for you going into the rest of the series. And this is just a position that we haven't seen Alcon in from, you know, too many situations from the past, and haven't really found themselves in this tournament. But they have to find 2 maps in a row, as you framed up there for us, Ton, and it just comes down to what's going to happen on Miami of all maps. Like, this is the deciding factor in whether or not you lose or whether or not you go to a map 3. Like, talk about that amount of pressure.
I know on Miami as well. It does make things difficult because it's an obscure one to play in 2v2s. But Olcon, for me, typically have played it quite well. They get aggressive, but I'm curious if anybody on England has been watching the streams previously and they know this as well. But if you're getting yourself involved, you've got a really good chance at winning prizes every single month with PlayStation at compete.playstation.com. Get yourself involved. Could be you in these grand finals fighting it out for this prize pool, of course, which I'm really not sure which way it is going now. It does make things very, very interesting. The fact that England are able to take that map number 1 there and sets the series up in a strange place for me, specifically because I had Olcon taking it. But you had England 2-1. That's still very much on the cards.
It is in the cards, and I'm not expecting, you know, this Alcon roster to completely just, you know, slump over going into this map 2. You know, if anything, this might actually fuel them a little bit here. So I think really the key now is the fact that I think originally we're like, listen, if England can strike first in the series, like they have a strong chance of being able to take the entire thing. But now you have to make sure you're not getting like overconfident, you're not getting over aggressive here, because that's when I think we'll start to see a lot of, what makes this Alcon roster so good is their ability to punish you when you're making a lot of those little mistakes here. So if they can just come in here and play either the same way they just did, play off of each other, like the chance to get it done in two. I don't think you want to go to a third map versus Alcon. No. Like, think of this as like, this is last map. We're getting it done here. We're going to win 2-0. That's got to be, what I'm screaming to my teammate coming into this map number 2 on Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get it done as soon as possible. You don't want to offer a route back in, because that second map really can be the swing as well, can't it?
Sure.
It's the way that England win that one for me.
Yeah,
kind of
it hurts.
Yeah, that will hurt, especially for Alcon, who would have looked for a route back in. That would have made it 5-4. It would have been a very, very close end of the game, and we still would have been probably there. Nonetheless, to lose it in a 1v2 against arguably the second best player on England, and that's no disrespect to Petr, because for the other part, his teammate has been lights out all the way through as Taser. So I don't know. I think it's one of those that you go into it and you've got to be favouring England, really, haven't you?
You're definitely rooting for them because they're the underdogs here. So I mean, it's the fact that they just come out with that map one and they're putting them to the test right now. This is exactly what we said in the first quarterfinals when we were seeing them, go through maps where they weren't even dying, right? And now they're playing against some of this higher competition in these grand finals where it really is about how much you're going to be able to perform in these high pressure situations. They've done it in the past, sure. But, have they been able to battle out against a team like England, who just seems to be on fire? And it's not just one. You highlighted it. Like, it's both players now clutching up, like not just clutching up, but ending the game. And like at least for me, like I know, like I'm coming in amped for the map number 2 here. Yeah. And I think Taser was in the chat there a little bit there for us while he was watching over that last game. So I'm sure, they took some notes on Express. They figured out what they were doing. But Miami's a different beast. We haven't seen it today, Ton. You mentioned it. Alcon, they've looked solid on it before here, so the work's not done. And you're going to have to make a lot of these mid-map, or kind of mid-round adaptations, rather, that need to play it on Miami because, a cost of an over-rotation or not rotating fast enough can very much cost you a lot of rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious to see how England are going to play this. As said, for me, for Alcon, they get aggressive. They use the SMGs. They kind of go for mid-map control. They go for purple control, piano, etc., etc. That's kind of where they want to be, and they can dictate the pace around that over towards B, and then hotel, of course, to look towards A. And it kind of does work out with them. It's a strategy that we've seen in the CDL where teams will take control of piano on either side, and then kind of just rotate from there. Specifically on the defensive side, they get aggressive, and then you can move around. So, like, I am curious to see how it is going to work out, but nonetheless, I think it's still tantalizing, isn't it? There's nothing guaranteed for Alcon here. There's nothing guaranteed for England. 2v2 search and destroy for all. It has its sort of nuances in terms of how it definitely works out and what's the best way to play it. It's not as predictable at times, and teams can throw different things at their opposition and potentially do something amazing here. So let's see what England can do up against Alcon, who've won it 2 times over the past 3 months. Looking to make it 3 out of 4, and that would be some record heading into further finals for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, of course. And hey, look, they're then backs against the wall right now. They need to get it done and get that reverse sweep through.
Oh, it's a tough spot. Like, it really is. I mean, having to pull off, another map, you got to take it just one round at a time, one map at a time here. So you can't get too far ahead of yourself if you are Alcon. But no, you said that very well. Like this is, where everything is, what it all comes down to. Like, you kind of have to do it. If you want to put another chip up on the board here, then it comes away with the Miami. And almost you feel like it has to be not necessarily in dominating fashion here for us, Ton, but convincing fashion enough to say, okay, listen, like, we're the real deal. Like, we're going to a map 3. We can absolutely still take you guys there, and we're going to close this one out. And that would kind of swing things back, as you mentioned it, as that very well happens in best of 3s here, especially in grand finals. Everything is more intense. It's heightened when you're coming in with your emotion and things like this here. So a lot of money on the line. Chance to be able to upset. I mean, you name it. The list goes on here. Like, everyone, I mean, starting to probably shift their favor over to a different team, and Alcon find themselves in a position I just don't think anyone really expected them to be in.
Yeah, I think so. You know, they would have expected to walk away with the win there. It has to be said. I think the comeback was on, and especially in the sense that they lost that final round in the way that they did with that 1v2. It does make things a little bit more interesting. It does definitely stoke the fire, I suppose, for England.
Yeah.
Finding that 1v2 for Czech was massive, and the fact that now. Um, they're going into the second map. They have the lead. They have that 1v2 coming on through. It puts us in a fantastic spot if you are England, but you know, Olcon, you cannot count them out. And I'm just really curious, you know, as I said, for the first time we are going to see Miami this evening, how this is going to be played. Are England going to be aware of how things play out here? Are they going to just play their own game and see what happens? It's an interesting one. It's definitely something that there's a lot of scope for different things to happen on Miami, and including, well, the scope. We may well see the sniper rifles pop out, but who knows? Who knows? But here we go into it on Miami. SMG for Taser. No surprise to see that coming on through. Performed so well with it all the way through here. Attacking round coming out from Olcon. England on the defensive side.
Right up the middle, as you called it too. A lot of where this action will likely take place for us. Taser does not check, and I think Clara is going to get some information, but that's not the best Semtex we've ever seen, and that means that Taser actually slips around. We will get a trade. So Disc able to even up the odds. Some glass going to be broken. Petterchek's got himself the Krig in hand, and he's got info on where Disc was just a few moments ago.
Rotation run from Disp. What's the play here? Check just waiting for maybe a position to find himself in to do something about this, but Disp rotating over towards B. Get the bomb down here. It's such a difficult retake, isn't it? Check not really with a lot of info here, but he is going to take the gamble on B. Is he going to get there in time? No.
Looks like he will get the bomb down. Watching right over him, though. Petterchek, he knows he's here. Stun's going to go out. It's all desperation, but can he get over the wall? He can. And this puts Petterchek in a bit of an interesting situation. Do you play for the defuse? Do you play for the repeak? He's going to hop it for a second. Disp with the nade is very well placed, and he will be able to actually pull that one off. That is a 1v2 clutch that ends up coming through off a full rotation in the back of the spawn, and enough to be able to finesse here over the wall and come out with the dub.
Back to nade, isn't it? That causes problems. Disp does well. First round now for Olcon. Can they tie this series up? It's a good way to start.
Now for offense, like, I feel like on this map in twos, it's really scary and really risky to split off, but you almost feel like you have to in order to cover both bomb sites because you don't want to lose possession of it. But that's kind of what you have to deal with when you're talking about what you want to do for the setup here on the defensive side. And, well, lo and behold, Petterchek, he's been able to slip through. He's been great at dropping the bombs. The objective man for the squad. The nade's going to tag him, but he's at least able to get the bomb down. Didn't see him.
Oh, Clara's going to get taken. Didn't see him at all. Disp now in the 1v2. Should be around for England. Absolutely should be and will be. England do take it and do tie things up there. But yeah, it's surprising that he doesn't see him.
I am too. Like, I'm not sure if we'll see it from his POV, but yeah, we will. So Petterchek, I'm sure, is absolutely up in the air with what happens here because the nade tags him, excuse me. He slips away, and in this corner, you could see it on Clover's POV that he was just right there. And Petterchek was even a little bit slow to pull up his weapon there too. Not sure if he was waiting for some trigger discipline on a second to follow, but really strange round number 2. In the end, it does tie us up, and England find themselves on the board. So you're still happy with it at the end of the day.
Into the next round. Again, the aggression's probably going to come out here. From the side of England, looking that way at least anyway. Clara ready and waiting for it, looking over the crossover towards A. Taser pushing. Oh, they get bad timing. Yes, he is. And Clara will find one and get out as well. Oh, good shots off coming through from Petterchek. My word. Making things very even. 1 1v1 now here, Visions.
Yeah, Clara gonna just try and maybe get the bomb down. I would love to see him do it. I mean, you can play for the wall. It looks like that's where he's going to plant it from. But the problem is you have to think of this when you're retaking as Petr right now. You have to come away all across the map. That's going to take you about good 15 seconds or so to get here. The time you get here, you got to clear out this back wall. You got to clear out top purple. So there's so much to really clear. And that's what I'm getting to here. And we'll have to see how Petr tries to break this down with 30 seconds left.
Clara's just going to play the wall. It's just such a valuable spot. But the thing is, Petr will know exactly where he is. He's going to find the peak. He finds the first shot. So does he just warn him off? No HP traded between both. And while Clara can just move away, knows that he just needs to check it in a second. Petr ready and waiting. Yeah, isn't going to have the opportunity here. This is going to be a round over towards Olcon. We'll try and take the kill, right? Gunfight doesn't really mean much. Clara will find it. Olcon find the win. 2-1 now.
They do get that, and I mean that it just comes back to what I was just saying, talking to you when you're making that rotation. Like there is so much you have to clear out, but even when you do spot him, it's a tough challenge. You're fighting from heady, and I mean we saw Petr rip at least one off the heady here at the start of the round, but that is a bit of a different angle when you're out in the open trying to take that challenge right on the B site. So very nice round does in fact come through. Are able to tighten up, ice up for us, and that's enough to make sure that they hold on to the lead. But we'll switch over one more time, of course. We'll see what Taser and Petr have planned for us in the round number 4. Last time they did get a plant off on A. Petr going to have that bomb again, and he's starting to work his way over to the beach side.
Clara ready and waiting with the A out. Both teams on the exact same kills here, though. Just not necessarily working out in the favor of England, of course. Slow round. This is the thing with Miami. There's so much to clear out.
Halfway through.
Oh, he isn't going to get away. This will find those shots with the Krig, and the passiveness from Olcon pays off. Taser trying to find something, but Petr now left in a 1v2 and really in the middle of nowhere. But looks like this air plant can come in very, very quickly.
Very aggressive plant too. He just wants to try to get it down and get out. And if he can, there's a couple of clutch spots you can play from. You can get all the way back to the ramp. There is a shot.
There's no way.
He crossed the map. The timing here is exceptional. There is a shot at being able to do it. He's going to wait. I love this. Trigger discipline coming through right now for Petr, but he's going to have to try and find the angle. His position's going to be known now. Favre's going to take that challenge, and the Semtex, more or less a Hail Mary at this point. We'll be able to, I think, just try the trophy system. But Clara, he goes down. Disp is also low. The 1v2. I don't know how you slip across the map, but Petr, he makes it happen.
How on earth has he just put his head down and ran through the middle of the map and got away with that there? That is bizarre. Clutch is up where he needs to as well. The job wasn't done. Fantastic play from the side. I think the 2-2 now. That felt like such a huge round for Olcon. If they could have went up 3-1, for me, we're heading over to a Moscow.
Yeah, I mean, just with the way this team plays too, like they build off of rounds, and when they start to find that flow, the rounds just tend to come on through for you. So stopping that one there, incredible work, but it's defense, and you can see it. Taser has slowed down. The last 2 offensive, or rather defensive rounds, he's been right up in the faces, just trying to make a middle map play. Not going to happen. Maybe you're going to rely on Petr to bring home a first blood for you, and he does scout out one. Claw's going to be all alone on this B site here. We'll see if he decides to plant it or at least hold the position here for a little bit.
B seems to be the option here for Olcon, although saying that, Clara's moved out, and I think Taser must have heard him. Clara falls. 1v2 for Disp. Let's step up England up. Again, first time since the first round though, and Taser's going to challenge all alone. Check now. In a 1v1. A potential 1v2 for Disp. And the thing is here though, I think Petr knows where the bomb is. And that's surely got to be what he's playing for here. Disp now going to grab a hold of it. He'll go back. He'll go for the plant. If Petr see him, he's got to check it. That bomb's going down. He does have an aid. He's got a stun as well. He's just going to try and get on top of him immediately. Disp is there, ready for the taking, and Petacek plays the angles, and that's going to be 3-2 to England.
Petacek, I mean, I don't know if it's just against, you know, like better teams that he starts to perform better, but he has just been one of the X factors so far in this grand final for the side of England. There is multiple moments that we take away from the Express, and that's the reason they come out with the 6-3 victory. We go into little moments like this where he's come off a 1v2 and then he follows it up with a massive 1v1. And when plays like this are being made, like, it is so difficult to do anything here for Alcon, because it's not like they're playing anything necessarily incorrectly. It's just they're being read here from just about everything they're doing, and it's because of the man on your screen right now. Petacek just a huge part of that now. So they're going to pull ahead 3-2 for us, ton. A chance to be able to build off this, but you need this round right now. I feel like if you're Alcon, with the way this series has gone, this is going to be a big round 6 to see if they can tie us up.
Big round. What can England do here? Petacek really has been absolutely fantastic. Taser just trying to watch the cross here. Alcon not getting aggressive at all. England making the push over towards A by the looks of things. Petacek is already quite far up. If he can get over to this bomb site unseen, good spot to be in. Teammate on his way over as well. Just looking to check that bomb now. Is Petacek going to be able to get out? Not quite. Just ready and waiting. Good shot's going to come on through. Taser now in the 1v2.
Oh, and that flash doesn't hit him. Flash doesn't connect, so it might. Yeah, that one does. Really well placed stun on the second time, and now Taser's got to win a couple up close. He finds the first one. He slips away. 20 seconds left. He takes the challenge. Taser feeling himself right now, but he's only got to play the clock. And Disp, you can feel it. The pressure, it's building. The 1v1, it comes through. Another clutch for the side of England. It doesn't matter who's alive, ton. They are just icing up for us right now in this map too.
I have so many questions of that challenge. He's weak, and he's like, yeah, we're challenging these ones. Taser feeling it, like you said. And the 4-2 scoreline comes up on our screens. England now in a good position to close this out 2-0 against the favourites in Alcon, who need to turn it around very quickly here.
Who's it going to be, right? Like, Clara was that guy throughout this entire series, and Disp has been the one who's been looking for open lanes, been usually a little bit more aggressive with the 74U here, excuse me, and now we'll see if he can make something happen with the XM4. Taser has found his way to the middle of the map off a late push, and first blood is there. Clara's position is known, but he slips away to Garage.
Oh, they find the shots coming on through. Not going to quite happen. It just went on a little bit too long. Now the 1v1 coming on through. Petacek can't find the shots. Still chasing Clara. Has he read it? No, he's not.
Wow.
And that's a 1v2 coming on through. The body shots as well. 4-3. What a hectic round.
That I don't even know how a trace can come through here. I mean, first off, Clara had to take this first shell. He just had to. And then he finds the kill. No trade follows. I mean, that is just a really tough one here for Petacek. I mean, not finding that trade. He thought he was still close on the van based off the pre-fire and where he had kind of centered himself with his aim. But it's just a trade that needs to come in. And listen, that's now what Alcon needed. They build off that. Clara has been a little bit slow here to start in the map number 2. He finds 2 big kills. That gets us to 4-3. And this is where we typically see them start to build off of it. And I mean, they have to. They absolutely have to get back in it.
Looks like an attacking. Oh, look at this from Alcon. This is what they did infamously in previous Open Series weekends. Here, Taser's headed them. He's had the push around behind, but he can't find the shots. Can he find them on the corner? No. Oh, yes, he can. The grenades out. Taser should be dead, but that bomb is already on its way to being put down over towards A. And Petacek. Thing is for him here, has that Craig. And if a Despy doesn't have any information whatsoever.
And Petacek spots him, I'm pretty sure. I think he gets the information in another situation where Disp is going to have to basically make a bold prediction on where he thinks he's setting up. The trophy system goes down. He's got to read on it. The shots are good. That's going to shrug him off of the challenge for now. And he's going to just hop on the bomb and try and stick the defuse. Petacek Is he going to see him? He's going to take the challenge. He's going to take the challenge, and Disp will smoke him in the battle. He just had to play the clock. But Disp finds 2 in the round, brings in the defuse, and ties us up at 4 apiece.
Oh my goodness. Disp gets off the bomb and still... I mean, it has to be said it's a misplay from Petr. Look, Petr checks it, he gets off, and he just re-challenges him. That is outrageous. Timed the defuse as well. That's... It has to be said, it feels like a misplay.
Yeah. I mean, like, even if you see him on the bomb and you see him hop off of it for a second, like, you can just play the clock. Like, he needs 7.5 seconds to defuse. There's only 10 or maybe like 9 in the clock at the time when he went for the full challenge. It's just one of those situations where it's really hard to decipher as the player trying to defend the bomb, and it will cost them. And now that's 2 rounds that have been extremely close, but have been clutch up situations here that have been coming through for the side of Volcon. But they've gotten 2 in a row, looking for the 3rd, back on the attack. They love to play through the middle of the map. Petr really good for scouting out that information. He does get the info over. But what do you do next here? If you're Volcon, what bomb are you looking to attack?
Push. Clara's going to get caught, very, very tagged up. Petr will send the grenade his way as well. Is it going to clean it up? It's just the wrong side. Very passive from Volcon. England getting a little bit aggressive here, though. Just getting a bit of more real estate behind them. It just means more for Clara and Coat to clear out. Oh, check the spot. He is going to check it. Oh, my days. Clara now pushing on the bomb site. Knows where Taser is, but Taser's going to take the fight. Not long left on the timer. Taser just needs to play the time here, surely. Dips is going to go for the plant. Taser's ready and waiting, though. The shot's in. Just needs to stay alive. That should be the round.
One more challenge.
Check it again. He's going to check it again. Surely he does. Oh, Dispa gets away. Health comes back up. Oh, no. Taser jumps on the defuse. He's going to stick it. No, he isn't. Disp coming for the challenge. Is it going to be Disp to win it? Oh, can't go 5-4 up.
Oh, Ton, it's not looking great right now. England were up 4-2. And I said, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And that's just another spot where Taser, you know, he had the kill lined up twice in a row, just did not find the final shots to bring home the elimination. So that gets us to 5-4. And with the way that they're rolling right now, I mean, Volcon, they're on top of the world. They're going to be feeling great. They can get it all done and dusted. And just about every single offensive round here for England has been over to that ace site. You have to be able to read this right now. You have to make sure the plant is not going to go down. And it looks like Petr, he does want to start to at least make some moves throughout this beach side off the start of the round.
A hit coming in here for England. Clara's just playing his life out towards the hut. Bomb's going to be going down, though. Petr not going to know he's there, is he? The peek's going to come in. Surely the shots will as well. Petr just about gets away. They're going to be able to get themselves in a position on hotel now, and you can already see Taser's ready and waiting. Petr now, I think he would have liked to be in on the boat, but the shots into Clara will deter Volcon for just a little bit. Taser, yeah, watching the cross. The problem is a 7-4U here. You would have rather had a Krieg. Clara really pushing forward. Petr will find that, though. Disp on the bomb. Shots coming through are good enough, and it sends us to a round 11.
Oh, we couldn't have asked for a better grand final. I mean, both these squads just at each other's necks. And in these final moments, when you have a bomb down like that, it is just so easy to play from 2 different clutch spots at once. And it's just too much to handle, because if you're trying to retake that on the defense here, you're trying to zone in on one, but they don't let it happen. They're just giving shoulders, playing the clock, and using that to their advantage. And, well, look at this. It's going to be an attacking round for Volcon. Just about every round they've played through mid first, gathered information. And Taser, he's been known for getting aggressive. We'll see if he tries to bring out some of that magic here, or if he's just going to post up and wait for a play call to be made here for the side of Volcon.
The first blood is absolutely crucial here. Which way is it going to end up going? Clara and Coat Not really too keen on either bomb site just yet. Just looking for a bit of information. Maybe it's the mid-map push. Taser ready and waiting. Shot going to be going in. Is Taser going to take the initiative on this one? Clara is there and waiting. Clara finds the shots as well. And Petacek, they know where he is.
How we find
through. Clara gets beamed. Surely not Disp as well. 1v1.
Oh, everything resets. Disp up against Petacek. Petacek has been so good in these plays, and he's going to drop it. There is going to be a lot to clear out again. It's one of those situations you got to get across the map. You're going to have to make a strong prediction. It looks like it's going to be the wall setup for Disp. We'll see if it holds strong.
It's the one that makes the most sense by quite some distance. 30 seconds. Petacek seems to be reading it here, looking for the angle. You can see he's searching for it to try and find Disp. He's going to go around. Is Disp going to be expecting this to come in? No way, he is not. And I believe he's got time. He's got absolutely bags of it. And England are going to walk away as champions yet in the PS Tournament's EU monthly finals for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in the 2v2 Search and Destroy. A 2-0 victory over favourites Olcon. What a game number 2.
What a game number 2.
Look at
what
this.
A series. I mean, what a play for Petacek. Like, this was just non-existent. We were watching over England in the semifinals. So to see Petacek come alive the way that he did, finding 1v2s in some of these situations, like, he closed out both games. Both games there for us, Ton. Taser, he might have been that guy that's looking for the entries, getting you first bloods, is the aggressive player. But when it comes down to slowing it down, icing up, and just always relying on him to go big, he was there every single time. And what an upset. I mean, 70% had said that Alcon were going to take it. Not the case. England get it done.
I thought they were as well, but a 2-0 for England. Let's have a look at their bracket through, though. A fantastic performance from them. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. In the games that we've seen them in the quarterfinals, semis, and, of course, the grand finals, the 32-team bracket, they made their way through. And they get it done against Alcon. What a turnout for the books that is for England, and they deserved it. They really did. The clutch-up plays, the map number 1 was fantastic from them as well, and to come back from 5-4 down in that scenario as well, and then bring it up and win it on map number 2 in Miami with a 1v2 from Petacek. I mean, that is the best way possible, surely, to win at Visions.
I mean, it really is. Like, just the resilience, the intense moments of knowing you're going into a round 11, your teammate goes down and you still hang on to get it done. Like, those are the grand finals that we always hope to get here, and I'm glad we got it in EU because it was a banger one for sure.
Yeah, really, really good game between these two teams and a fantastic final. We've still obviously got the NA side of things to go, and that will be kicking off at 2 p.m. PT. But the EU side really has impressed this evening, I should say. And look, we've said it time and time again, but these tournaments are free. You can enter at compete.playstation.com. If you want to get involved. I mean, there's cash prizes on the line. And as I said, if you're sitting there watching it and thinking to yourself, yeah, I've got a chance up against these boys. We could definitely do it against Alcon or England. We could match up with Clara, etc. Petacek. It's there. The opportunity is there for you guys to get involved. 2v2 S&D coming at you every single month. But that's not the only games. We have plenty of other things on offer here from the PS tournaments. But I mean, how's your first foray back into 2v2 Search and Destroy being the Visions? That was super interesting.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, brought a lot of flashbacks. Like, I'm always playing 2v2s at the beginning of the games, learning the maps, so it's nice to see a little kind of throwback to some of these maps that we haven't got to see 2v2s like Miami and things like this. So it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of clutch plays, a lot of moments to look back on.
Yeah, and look, I think that's the one thing with the 2v2 that these clutch players can come through time and time again. And I think for England, that was kind of their groundwork. That was what was working for them, finding themselves in these bad situations, but clutching up specifically Petacek in that final series was an absolute monster.
Incredible. Like, absolutely insane. I mean, like, to the round in the Express when it was 5-3 and he finds a 1v2 after getting tagged up by a nade and just puts the gun to the face, breaks the nose, brings home the 1v2, and then does it on the round 11. And there was also multiple 1v1s throughout the Miami where he either read them extremely well and came out on top with it, and that was off the back end of a really big misplay round when they were up 4-2 and he didn't end up finding the trade. He was still able to bounce back, had the mental fortitude, be able to get right back in there like nothing ever happened. And that's what you really do love to see here out of your duo, if you're Taser. So I'm sure he's ecstatic right now after a lot of those clutch plays. And I mean, altogether, both of them right now, they came out with a lot of money. They're feeling good.
Yeah, got to be feeling good. Got to be plenty to buy on the COD store right now as well. You know, you get yourself kitted out for Warzone with those gift cards. You can buy other games on PlayStation as well. There's so many different things you could do with it. But congratulations to England. They will walk away as winners here in Europe. Thank you, Visions, for joining me once again. But we do, as said, have the North American show starting up later this evening. About an hour and 30 minutes from now, we'll be back live with the NA side of things. But that's been Europe. It is England as your winners. Get yourself settled down, maybe get a cup of tea, maybe even a pint if you're feeling like it as well. And get yourself chilled out. And we will see you in an hour and a half's time. Catch you then.